Chapter 1054 Long Fei. Chapter 1054 Long Fei. There was not much to say. Supreme God did not speak further. Instead, he smiled and said, "I believe that the mayor will ally himself with us." Finished. He left the city lord's mansion. Heaven sneered, "The immortal domain has already been overturned by Long Fei, so how can we gather power and ally everywhere now? Based on the current palace question of God." A weakling. He did not place palace question of God in his eyes at all. Currently, only Jiyu Tongtian was barely able to hold on in palace question of God. If he died, then immortal domain would have collapsed. Other than the savage domain, the supreme God also went to the dark domain. However, different from heaven, Song Chen agreed without even thinking. In addition, he even gifted Master of Magic Tribe with a huge gift. Not just dark domain. Jiyu Tongtian's influence was very strong. He sent out dozens of Star Spirit Messenger-s and gathered all the hidden powerhouses together. These reclusive powerhouse, they were all under a threat. Lifespan. 500 years of life is the limit of the gods' martial continent. Moreover, for tens of thousands of years, no one had been able to break through the shackles of heavenly tribulation. In the face of his lifespan running out, Jiyu Tongtian's request was simply too enticing. As long as they obtained the Dragon Domain's secret treasure, they would be able to obtain a longer lifespan. As long as their lives remained, anything was possible. Powerhouse gathered. The palace question of God was open to them. There was powerful spiritual energy and some of the stronger cultivation techniques in the palace question of God. The current palace question of God was completely different from the one a few days ago. His strength had reached an unprecedented level. This was Jiyu Tongtian's method. The 6 flying fairy stronger manes are not your match. Then I will find 16, 36, and even 60 flying fairyland powerhouses and ask if you are afraid. For more longevity. They would never show any mercy. And all of these, Long Fei did not know. In the valley. After 2 days, Long Fei still did not stop talking. He told everyone everything that happened in the immortal domain these past few years, and Long Fei wanted them to know how he had lived these past few years. He also let them know how much he missed them. Huff. One last night. Long Fei exhaled, his eyes raised slightly as he said, "Tomorrow, I will go save my woman, which is your eldest sister-in-law. If you can hear me, I hope you can come with me tomorrow, when the sun rises. We're brothers, let's go fight." Long Fei said heavily. And then, he too walked to the other side, his eyes unfocused. The Ming God's general was a fierce battle. The strength of those evolved people were very strong, especially Heaven, the purple light boss. If they wanted to kill it, they had to be prepared. In the dark night, before the great battle, Long Fei's heart was surprisingly calm. The more time passed, the calmer his heart became. The idea moved, enchanted. 1,000 points disappeared and Long Fei turned into a god's devil body. The god's devil body was still the same as before, its 6 wings were broken, the power of the god's bone taboo on its entire body disappeared, and the strong force in its abdomen stopped struggling. God's bone taboo, level 1, ding. The release of the god's bone taboo's power failed. The system sounded out. Ever since he was heavily crushed last time, Long Fei's god's devil bodies were severely restricted and could not be broken through. It was as if the strength of the god's bone taboo and the god's steel stone had all disappeared, and Long Fei was unable to activate them again. The current god's devil body was a complete cripple. Why is that? Even an upgrade can't be repaired. Why is that? I can recover my strength after leveling up together, but why can't I use the power of the god's bone taboo? Long Fei couldn't wrap his head around it. The power of the 9th level was simply too strong. The 10th level of power was definitely going to be a huge transformation. But one important thing was that he could not do anything as long as he could bring his god's devil body back to its original state. At this moment, the Yang Huang ancestor said slightly, "Your devil body has suffered a strong impact, all of your powers are dead. If you want to activate them, you have to endure a stronger power, and use this power to activate, wake them up, or else, your devil body will be a waste." Long Fei was shocked and he became ecstatic. "Ancestor, Are you saying that they are still in my body and that I can still activate them? Yang Huang ancestor said, yes, but I am not sure if this world is able to activate their powers. What? Even someone at the peak of the flying fairyland cannot do it? Long Fei asked. The Yang Huang ancestor said, the flying immortal peak realm's power is unable to be activated. It is a type of heavenly power. If you want to reawaken them, you have to step over the power of the flying fairyland. It is very difficult. At least right now I can't think of what kind of power it is, and if you are not careful, you might not be able to endure it. However, I'll help you, Yang Huang ancestor said. Long Fei's devil body was very strong, especially when he was able to cultivate to the 9th floor of the God's Bone taboo. He also wanted to see what the 10th floor would look like. What exactly is the 10th floor of the God's Bone taboo? Even the Yang Huang ancestor did not know. Early morning. When the first ray of sunlight shone down, Long Fei's eyes opened slightly. 3 days. The appointed time with the ghost soldiers had arrived. Long Fei stood up, a huge boulder pressing down on his heart. He was worried that Lin Yusheng and the others were still being controlled by his energy. However, he raised his eyes and looked at the 4 people standing on the distant hillside. Li Yuanba, Sky Spirit, Arhat, Lin Yusheng. Under the rays of the sun, the 4 of them were extremely long, like a giant. Long Fei walked towards them step by step with a smile on his face. He was extremely excited as he looked at the 4 of them, and that familiar feeling returned. Long Fei walked up the slope. The 4 of them shouted in unison, "Boss!" With a voice as loud as thunder, Long Fei grinned. He laughed until he seemed to be an idiot, and laughed to the point that tears were already flowing out of his eyes. Ha ha ha. The 4 Vaja also laughed. He was laughing so hard that tears came out of his eyes. Half a moment later, Long Fei looked in the direction of the Savage City and said, "Let's go. Overturn the Savage City. Save sister-in-law." The 4 of them said at the same time. On the way to Savage City, Long Fei gave him the power of the Holy Spirit that belonged to the Heavenly Spirit, and said, "Heavenly Spirit, this is your power." Outside the Savage City, the Yin soldiers gathered, waiting for Long Fei. Inside Savage City, inside the City Lord's mansion, Heaven looked at the Heavenly Star in the Great Hall, and said, "Heavenly Star, do you think Long Fei will come and save you?" Tianxin didn't speak. Was he too important to Long Fei after 3 days? In her heart, she didn't know either. After all, she had only known Long Fei for a few days. Why would that man in the world risk his life for such a woman? Savage City was a huge trap. He wouldn't be able to get out the moment he entered. In her heart, she would rather not have Long Fei here. At this moment, a black-armored warrior rushed into the hall and said, "Long Fei is here." Chapter 1055 Hand over my sister-in-law. Chapter 1055 Hand over my sister-in-law. 5 people stood below Savage City. The city gates were tightly shut, and the guards in red armor stood on top of the city walls. This was the First Elder's main branch. They were all second-generation evolved people, and the power of the Red Armor Army was second only to Heaven's Black Armor Army. Almost every single one of them was an existence of the peak of the Yuanxian, or existence of the immortal realm. "What did you say? Long Fei is really here?" Tianqing's eyes froze for a moment. There was a hint of excitement in his eyes. He didn't dare believe it, but his guards wouldn't lie to him. Long Fei was right outside the Savage City. "You dare to come back for a woman? Ha ha ha. Long Fei, oh Long Fei, I thought you were very outstanding, but never would I have imagined that you were so mediocre." Tianqing's eyes were filled with contempt. How could a man be in danger for a woman? No need at all. In Tianqing's eyes, women were just playthings for men, tools to vent their anger. Long Fei's appearance made him feel contempt. An elder walked up and said, "Great clan elder, Long Fei is extremely important. If we can catch him, we will grasp the initiative." Another elder added, "Currently, everyone in the entire God's Martial Continent knows that only Long Fei is able to enter the open dragon domain. If we can catch him, we can enter the dragon domain first. The entire God's Martial Continent is ours. Ha ha ha." Tianqing laughed excitedly. The scene was so beautiful that he could not imagine it. And then, Tian Qing yelled out, and said, "Pass down my order, capture Long Fei alive." City Lord's mansion at the same time, tears streamed down his cheeks. "Long Fei, why are you so silly? Quickly leave this place, quickly leave. Women are always the strangest animals." She was touched that Long Fei had come, but she didn't want Long Fei to put herself in danger because of her. Heaven smiled faintly, and said, "Tianxin, looks like you have some value after all. If you can persuade him to listen to my orders, I will spare your lives." Tianxin looked at Heaven and said, "Patriarch, I beg of you, please let him go. I'm willing to do anything you want me to do." "Ha ha ha. Let him go. Let him go, who's going to let me go?" Heaven smiled playfully. If he wanted to control his own fate, he had to obtain Long Fei. Only in this way could he control the initiative. Although his son was trash, his words weren't wrong. As long as the transmission gate was destroyed, then he could control his own fate. No matter how powerful that chaos realm was, it wouldn't be able to threaten him. Everything had to start with Long Fei. "Long Fei. You're mine." Heaven was excited, he secretly clenched his fists. At this time, another black-armored warrior walked into the hall and said, "Patriarch, the great clan elder and the others have started to move." Heaven sneered and said, "Tian Qing? Ha ha ha. Let's see how long you can hold out for. Send the order that the black-armored warrior's City Lord's mansion is to gather and release the news that Tianxin is in the City Lord's mansion." "Yes, sir." Everything was as Heaven expected. Long Fei had returned. At the same time, in a certain restaurant in Savage City, a man dressed in a black robe was sitting in a private room beside the window, tasting delicious food. Looking at the commotion on the streets, the large amount of people wearing red armor rushed to the city gate. The man smirked and laughed coldly. "The show has started, Supreme God." He did not leave the Savage City. At the city gate, Long Fei and the rest of the five stood there quietly. The city gates were shut tight. On top of the city walls, there was a large number of red armor warrior gathered, waiting and waiting, special arrows locking onto the heads of Long Fei and the other four. Li Yuanbar slightly said, "Boss, can we start now? I can't wait any longer." Lin Yusheng also laughed and said, "It's time for a wave to erupt. It's been hard on us these past few years." Arhat put his hands together and said lightly, "Amitabha, I am not going to hell. Who is going to hell? Let's kill." 4. The four great king-level entities, all returned. Long Fei laughed excitedly. On the city wall, an elder disdainfully sneered, and said, "You five only want to come to Savage City to behave atrociously. Kid, don't even mention Long Fei. Even if you are, you will have to obediently kneel on the ground and call us grandfather." Several tens of thousands of red armor warrior S. An existence that could crush the powerhouse S of the flying fairyland, a mere Long Fei? He did not put them in his eyes at all. Every single one of the red armor warrior S were also extremely arrogant existences. Mother **K. Li Yuanbar immediately cursed in anger. "This old man will see who kneeling on the ground calls grandpa." At this moment. Ding. System notification. "Do you want to start party formation?" Party formation? Activate. Ding. Team mode activated. Captain, Long Fei. Party member, Li Yuanbar, Lin Yusheng, Heavenly Spirit, Arhat. Guild mode activated, experience increased by 10%. "Everything is fine," Long Fei muttered. Everything had been prepared properly, his voice had sunk, and with a roar, he said, "Kill them, let them know what a grandfather is." Ha! Li Yuanbar took the lead and rushed out. Ah! Just like that, he let out a wild roar, then like a super tank, he rapidly pushed forward without even flying, only fiercely accelerating. He crashed into it. Everyone was looking at him. We're about to collide with the city wall. Is this person an idiot? This person is definitely more brainless than someone else. Could it be that he wants to smash the Savage City's wall? This Savage City wall is the strongest wall in history, stronger than even the God Emperor City itself. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Laughter filled the walls. They were all ridiculing Li Yuanbar for being an idiot. However, 1 second later, rumble. The thick wall was smashed into a big hole, and Li Yuanbar rushed in together with the person inside the wall. The big hole started to crack around the walls, and a few seconds later, rumble. The city walls collapsed and a large number of the city walls collapsed. Dozens of red armor warriors on top of the city walls buried themselves into the rubble. The other people could no longer laugh, and were stupefied. This person. Two fears. Who is an idiot? Who's the brainless one? They don't have enough brains. Li Yuanba, who was rushing into the city, suddenly roared out, "Hand your sister-in-law over." His voice was like thunder. At this time, the Holy Spirit around Long Fei moved. The spirit body opened up and flew into the air, facing the place where the red armor warrior was the most concentrated. Its eyes turned sinister as though it had come from hell. Power of the dosed, rot. Shua. His body dashed forward, and power gushed out from his fingers. Piercing through. The bodies of the red armor warriors on top of the city walls petrified and then crumbled, as if a statue had cracked, and they were all instantly killed. In Long Fei's mind, the system beep was going wild. Experience exploded. As the spirits descended, a gloomy voice sounded out above Savage City, "Hand your eldest sister-in-law over." Extraordinary power. The slaughter began. Who kneels down and calls me grandpa? Who kneels down and calls me grandpa? Destroying a city with a single move. One move of slay. The two of them stood inside Savage City like thunder god of war, valiant, domineering, unparalleled. Ahut and Lin Yusheng stood by Long Fei's side, protecting their boss like they were protectors on his left and right. The three of them walked towards the Savage City at a leisurely pace. At this moment, the entire Savage City was shocked by them. The red armor warriors didn't know how to react and looked at them with their mouths agape. It was also at this time. The elder on top of that city shouted, "Kill him, immediately." Red armor warrior surged towards the five of them like a tide. Heh. Li Yuanba revealed an innocent and excited smile. As his hands descended, he held raging thunder in his hands, and without waiting for them to charge forward, he went forward to meet them. The same goes for the sky spirit. The red armor warrior was very strong. He was the elite amongst the great clan elder Tianqing's elites. However, in front of Li Yuanba and Tianling, they were like radishes and cabbages, sliced to death. When they came out, they smashed their brains open and their bodies exploded. He couldn't stop it at all. Li Yuanba, Sky Spirit sect are too fierce. The two of them were currently recovering in the flying fairyland. All of a sudden, those red-armored warriors stopped attacking and started to retreat. Their faces also turned pale and miserable cries could be heard constantly. "They're not human at all. Save me. This man is the devil, he is the devil. Help me. This is too terrifying." The fear was spreading, causing the red armor warrior to lose their ability to fight and could only retreat. Suddenly, Li Yuanba suddenly moved, boom. Carrying a huge sarcophagus on his back and holding dual hammers in his hands, he leaped up heavily and landed on top of the city gate tower. His gaze was fixated on the elder of the Heaven clan who was giving out orders. Heh. Li Yuanba laughed coldly. The elder gulped and asked fearfully, "What do you want to do?" Li Yuanba stared at him. The surrounding red armor warrior slowly pushed it away. The elder asked again, "Just what are you planning to do?" Li Yuanba still did not speak, and only stared at him. The elder's heart was on the verge of collapse. He was almost crying as he said, "Just what are you trying to do? Tell me. If you don't tell me, how would I know?" At this moment, Li Yuanba roared fiercely, "Aren't you asking us to kneel down?" His voice was extremely loud. The surrounding red armor warriors were all shaken to the point that their eardrums ruptured. Blood flowed out of their 7 orifices, and that elder's heart was also incomparably terrified. He instantly kneeled on the ground with a put sound. However, without waiting for him to kneel, Li Yuanba swung his hammer and said, "Kneel before my big brother." Bam! The clan elder flew down and landed right in front of Long Fei. "Master Long Fei, don't kill me, I was wrong. I'm on my knees before you. I was wrong, I beg you to spare my life." In the face of death, everyone was afraid. Long Fei's mouth hooked up, and said slightly, "Are you afraid? Don't worry. Just 1 second." 1 second is enough. With that, the dragon salyer that was carried on Long Fei's shoulder fell. In an instant, a head flew up, blood spurted out wildly. Ding! The system sounded out. Yet another wave of experience. Long Fei shouted, "Kill them all." The experience points was rising rapidly. The experience of these Red Armor Warriors was too great. They were about to level up. Heh heh. The sky spirit laughed sinisterly as the power of the dosed on his body surged. Everywhere he went, not a single blade of grass grew. Grand Elder's estate. Tian Qing's body trembled. What did you say? Completely wiped out. Impossible. It's absolutely impossible. Even if my Red Armor Warrior met a powerhouse of the advanced level of the Flying Immortal stage, they would not be defeated at such a short period of time. Did you see wrongly? He didn't believe it. Red Armor Warrior's fighting strength was very powerful. How could they possibly be completely annihilated in just an hour? In the yard, the faces of the elders darkened. Grand Elder, what do we do now? An elder asked. With the Red Armor Warrior broken, who could stop Long Fei? Red Armor Warrior was completely wiped out. Tian Qing was extremely furious in his heart, but he did not lose his reason. Instead, he became even calmer, and with a sinister look in his eyes, he said, "Heaven, you want to use me as your cannon fodder? All right. Then I'll see who's the cannon fodder." He now understood. The reason why Heaven gave up on his Savage City's defense was because he wanted Long Fei to come back and use his Red Armor Warrior as cannon fodder. Otherwise, why would he give him the authority to do so? Understanding this, Tian Qing's heart became even colder. His voice sunk as he said, "Long Fei entered the city to save his woman. If you capture his woman, I want to see how you escape and how you withstand it. Pass my orders." "Everyone withdraw," Tian Qing immediately said. He was not afraid of Long Fei. With his cultivation, it was not difficult to suppress him, but Heaven. City Lord's mansion. The black-armored warrior made a report on the movements of the Savage City. Heaven smirked and said, "Tian Qing, this lesson doesn't feel good, huh? Fight with me. You are not qualified." An elder said anxiously, "Clan leader, what do we do now? Long Fei is about to arrive." Heaven laughed. Why should a mere Long Fei be afraid? He did not place Long Fei in his eyes at all. From the moment Long Fei appeared in Savage City, he knew that Long Fei was just like fish on his chopping block. "Long Fei, you won't be able to escape from my grasp." Heaven laughed sinisterly, then said, "Pass my order, let him enter the City Lord's mansion. Tell the black-armored warrior to act according to plan." The order was quickly passed down. The streets of Savage City were empty. The door of the shop was tightly shut. There were no passers-by. A strong wind blew past, bringing with it the smell of blood and the chilling air. The entire Savage City was like a killing ground, causing people's hearts to turn cold. Trembling. However, to the 5 of them, there was only excitement. Half a quarter of an hour later, Long Fei and the other 3 stood in front of the City Lord's mansion's gate. The door was wide open. There was no sound from inside, but it was full of killing intent. Li Yuanbar took a step forward and shouted loudly, "Hand over my big sister-in-law. You dare to touch my boss woman, I will kill him too." Very arrogant. There was no sound coming from the City Lord's mansion. It was as if there was no one inside. Li Yuanbar clamored and said, "Boss, could it be that you know we're here to escape?" The man said, "There is a very strong sense of danger inside." Dangerous aura? Li Yuanbar rubbed the bridge of his nose and with the swing of his twin hammers, he walked in with large strides while carrying the giant spirit coffin on his back. The moment he stepped through the door, his body was engulfed by a halo of light. Chapter 1057, Killing Heart Battle. Chapter 1057, Killing Heart Battle. Yuan Ba. Luby. The 3 of them were shocked, quickly rushing forward. Long Fei was startled, and immediately asked, "Formation? Enter the formation." Long Fei almost immediately shouted without any consideration. This formation was too ingenious, and they could not feel the power of any formation at all. Now that Li Yuanbar had entered the formation, even Long Fei and the others did not stop. The first to enter the formation. Buzz. It vanished in an instant. Ahat. Lin Yusheng followed closely behind and disappeared. Long Fei practically followed them inside, and even though it was not even half a second apart, he could not see them at all the moment they entered the array. The world where everyone entered the array was different. The Yang Huang ancestor was shocked and said, "Long Fei, you have to be careful. This formation is from the Chaos Realm, although it isn't as powerful as the ones in the Chaos Realm, but just based on the power of the formation in the God's Martial Continent, it is far too powerful, far too powerful." It's the Chaos Realm again. A ball of fury was burning in Long Fei's heart as he ruthlessly said, "Damn it, this daddy must go to the Chaos Realm to take a look and see what kind of world it is." And then, Long Fei's idea sunk, trying to find the four of them, but his idea was completely cut off. Yang Huang ancestor said, "Once this type of formation enters, it will be an independent space. Moreover, the most important thing is, this is the formation that your mind is afraid of. Whatever you fear in your heart will appear. I'm worried." Yang Huang ancestor did not continue speaking. He had control of Long Fei's side, but what about the four great King Kong? Long Fei's heart sank, and said, "What are you afraid of? Ancestor, what exactly does this mean?" Not waiting for him to finish, an illusion of heaven appeared in the space. Long Fei muttered in his heart, "Ancestor, I'm not afraid of him, why would his face appear here?" Yang Huang ancestor heaven slightly smiled, "Long Fei, welcome to the killing heart battle." "Cut the crap!" Long Fei shouted, "Release my men, release my women, I will withdraw from Savage City." "Ha ha ha." Heaven laughed out loud, and said, "Long Fei, do you think you have the qualifications to negotiate with me? Don't talk to me about qualifications. I hate it when you talk about qualifications or not in front of me. People like this usually die miserably in my hands." Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. In his mind, he kept thinking about how to break the formation. Heaven sneered, and said, "Long Fei, as long as you listen to me obediently, your brother will be fine, your woman will also be fine, and your Nantian region's family members will all be fine. As long as you are obedient. This is my world, do you understand?" Heaven was very proud. The power within this killing heart battle is too strong. It is an illusory magic array that can see what you are most afraid of and then evolve. No one could decipher it. Long Fei said, "Stop bullshitting with me, what about your world?" "Bullshit world?" "Heaven, you should know my character very well, and should know what happens if you touch me. Don't be so shameless. You'll die even more miserably than your son." Long Fei asked in his heart, "Ancestor, have you thought of a way?" Formation aperture. When breaking the formation, you must first find the core of the formation. Long Fei said anxiously in his heart, "If you are strong enough to crush everything, any formation would be crushed with its immense power. But the rank of the array was too strong, it was stronger than the array inside the God's Martial Continent, it could not be easily crushed. He could only find the core of the formation and break it." The Yang Huang ancestor shook his head. The killing heart battle does not have any specific formation apertures, and every space has different formation apertures. It could be an unremarkable little grass, or it could be something that you are afraid of. The killing heart battle was an array formation comprehended by an Empyrean superpowerhouse of the Chaos Realm. The killing heart battle that Long Fei was currently in was not even 1/10,000th of the Chaos Realm's strength. However, it couldn't be solved. Heaven's gaze turned sinister, not because he was sad at the death of his son, but instead sneered, "Long Fei, I'll give you one last chance, either be obedient like a dog. Or, today, your four brothers all died. And your woman." As soon as he finished, Long Fei's eyes congealed into a ray of light, the dragon Salia in his hand slashed, "The one who will die today will definitely be you." Sure, heaven needed to break it. At this moment, the killing heart battle started to activate, and in the world that Long Fei resided in, an incomparably miserable voice sounded, "Long Fei, save me, save me." It was the voice of the heavenly star realm. Long Fei's heart sank, he immediately shouted, "Tian Xing, where are you?" Long Fei quickly rushed out. Half a minute later, his entire body was dripping with blood and his eyes were filled with pleading. When he saw Long Fei's appearance, he immediately shouted, "Long Fei, quickly save me, quickly save me." "Crap." Yang Huang ancestor immediately said, "It cannot be saved, Long Fei, Everything that you saw in the killing heart battle were just illusions, you cannot save them. This was what the Yang Huang ancestor was most worried about. He understood Long Fei very well. In terms of martial arts, he had no weakness. Even if he met a powerful opponent, he had no weakness. His weakness was his family. This was his most fatal weakness. Brothers, women, and relatives, once threatened, it was easy for him to lose his mind. The Yang Huang ancestor didn't know what kind of past he had, nor did he know what kind of experiences he had had in his previous life. To Long Fei, kinship was the most precious thing in the world. He risked his life to cherish it. In his previous life, he didn't even have a family member. Who were his parents? I don't know. He only knew that he grew up alone. He yearned for kinship, for the warmth of home. In this life, he cherished it with all his might. When he saw Skystar's suffering, Long Fei's mind seemed to think of no problem. He immediately charged forward and cut the cross in half with his blade. After unlocking Heavenly Star, he said, "It's fine, it's fine." Tian Xing also instantly jumped into Long Fei's embrace. However, in this instant, Long Fei's chest was torn apart by a wave of energy. A dagger stabbed into his heart. Blood dripped down. Tianxin revealed an evil smile. "Why didn't you listen to the patriarch? Why didn't you listen to him? It hurts." If not for the Golden Dragon Protector, Long Fei's heart would have been pierced. However, he did not regret what he had just done. If it happened again, he would still do it. Because Skystar was the first woman he had ever known. Yang Huang ancestor said, "Brat, he is not your woman, he is only an illusion in your mind." Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, Yang Huang ancestor's power gushed out. Boom. He directly sent the Heavenly Star flying. The Heavenly Star let out a blood-curdling scream. "Ah, Long Fei, I hate you, I'm very, very..." Buzz. The Heavenly Star disappeared into thin air. At this moment, Jojo's figure appeared out of thin air, and she had an incomparably sweet smile on her face. "Young Master Long Fei, Jojo misses you." Chapter 1058, Comprehending Sheringan. Chapter 1058, Comprehending Sheringan Kid. Long Fei, Long Fei. She isn't real, he isn't real. Yang Huang ancestor hurriedly said. He was also extremely furious in his heart. This formation was too disgusting, too despicable. If all his relatives were to give Long Fei a stab, even if Long Fei had 100 lives, it would still not be enough. Long Fei looked at Jojo, at her peaceful expression, and his heart was almost drunk. "Jojo, I missed you so much." "Long Fei. Evil beings, let me do it." The Yang Huang ancestor ignored everything else. He could not let anyone else harm Long Fei. It was just too dangerous. If the dagger was even slightly more powerful, Long Fei would be dead. Boom. The moment Yang Huang ancestor used his power, he immediately killed the Jojo in the distance. Long Fei was enraged. "Ancestor, what are you doing?" The Yang Huang ancestor said, "Wake up, this is the killing heart battle. Jojo and the rest are still in the Nantian region, they can't possibly appear here. Everything you see is an illusion, and not real. Damn it, you actually dared to kill Sister Jojo. You've changed. You've become too cruel. You are no longer the Long Fei that I know." With that, an incomparably sharp javelin pierced through the void. The leopard girl. 3-point leopard tattoo outfit, full of savagery. However, her eyes were full of killing intent. Without waiting for her to approach, the Yang Huang ancestor moved once again. Another wave of force once again killed her, and the leopard girl's resentful gaze was imprinted in Long Fei's mind. That feeling was too unbearable. Just like how he had killed the leopard girl. "No, no. Ancestor, if you keep fighting, I won't be polite." Long Fei's heart was on the verge of collapse. Jojo, the leopard girl, they were the weakest in Long Fei's heart. Seeing them die in front of him, he couldn't take it anymore. Long Fei was not a god, and was not a saint either. He had 7 emotions and 6 desires, and emotions. Seeing them die, no matter how resolute Long Fei was, he could not take it. "Darn hooligan, how can you attack little sister Jojo? Long Fei, you have changed. You are no longer the Long Fei that I know. Long Fei, you're too despicable." After leaving the Nantian region for so long, you still haven't come back to see us again. Do you know how much senior sister Luo she has missed you? You don't like her at all, do you? You have a new woman now, you liar, and I hate you. The 3 heaven sect sisters walked out. Yi Xian, Xiao Tiantian, and Liu Luoshi. In another place, Yuan Ling also walked out. Looking at Long Fei, her eyes were filled with unfamiliarity. You are no longer the Long Fei of the past. You have changed. The 4 of them appeared at the same time and slowly walked towards Long Fei. Patriarch, we can't attack anymore. We can't attack anymore. Long Fei screamed in his heart, and at the same time, he kept saying, I didn't do it. Luoshi, that's not me. It's not me. Boom, 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 boom. With 4 loud bangs, the 4 women were killed once again. Their corpses were lying in a pool of blood as the Yang Huang ancestor roared out, Come, come, come. Long Fei was about to go crazy. Seeing the 4 of them lying in a pool of blood, the killing intent in his heart gathered crazily as he roared like thunder, Yang Huang ancestor, get the hell out here right now. I will kill you. He was furious. Yang Huang ancestor shouted, this is all an illusion. Long Fei, can you clear your mind a little? Wake up. I am very clear now. Look at them, they have all been killed by you. What exactly do you want to do? Are you afraid that I won't bring you back to the Chaos Realm? Are you afraid that I will be dragged down by the women, brothers, and family? Ancestor, I have always been thinking of doing my best to rebuild your body and return it to the Chaos Realm. Now, I can't take it anymore. Get out of my body. Long Fei was furious. Although the Yang Huang ancestor knew that this was an illusion and that Long Fei had lost his mind, hearing Long Fei's words made his heart surge with rage. The 2 of them fell into a frenzied argument. At the same time, the 4 great king-level entities were in an independent space. Li Yuanbar was covered in blood, his entire body was filled with wounds, and the one standing in front of him was no other than Long Fei. It was the same with Arhat. The person in front of him was also Long Fei. Lin Yusheng heavily kneeled on the ground, and in front of him was the patriarch of the God's Water tribe. The sky spirit was sleeping soundly in his mother's embrace. Imperceptibly, the 4 great Vajra body was almost completely destroyed. He was only 1 step away from death. Facing the weakest side of your heart, as long as you have 7 emotions and 6 desires, as long as you have shackles in your heart, you will not be able to escape the shackles of this formation. Killing heart battle. Killing the weakest part of yourself. No one could stop him, outside the formation. Heaven laughed out loud, for Great Vajra. TSK, a trash that couldn't even withstand a single blow. Long Fei. Tempach, you'll have to kneel on the ground and beg me like a dog right now, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Heaven was extremely proud, everything was within his control. He was still thinking about the alliance invitation from the palace question of God a few days ago, and his heart became even more disdainful. Palace question of God. So what if you're the strongest power in immortal domain? Your God Emperor city is already in ruins, and I only used a small formation to crush Long Fei like a dog. You want me to ally with you? Are you even worthy? Just you wait. When Long Fei complies with me obediently and when I step into Dragon Domain for the first time, the entire God's martial continent will be trampled under my feet, ha ha ha. Heaven laughed proudly. At this moment, suddenly, a voice rang inside Heaven's mind. Heaven frowned and immediately said to the few elders beside him, watch closely for me. Don't panic over anything, I'm going to leave for a moment. After he finished speaking, Heaven's figure flashed and he disappeared from where he stood. In the secret room, a mass of black fog was floating in the air. Heaven kneeled down heavily and said, greetings, Master. Patriarch, get lost. Get lost. Long Fei roared. While they were arguing intensely, none of Long Fei's family members appeared in the space between them. Long Fei was in the midst of incomparable pain. With a sudden roar, he said, bedevilment. Buzz. He moved to the side and instantly turned into a god's devil body. It was also at this moment that the aura in the space changed, because it was too fast and there was no time to change. Long Fei's weakness was his family. But the sky demons. What was the weakness in the heavenly demon's heart? It was as if space was shorted. Why did Long Fei want to become bewitched? He wasn't trying to hide from the weakness in his heart, but was trying to think of a way to break through the formation. How do I break this formation? This is an illusion. How do I break it? What method? What can we do? Sharingen. Chapter 1059, Black Protector. Chapter 1059, Black Protector. He could see illusions, and even create illusions. Long Fei thought about the Sharingen in the world of fire. If he could release the power of the Sharingen, he would be able to see through the illusions produced by the light-killing heart battle. The Sharingen possessed the power of the clear vision, being able to see through everything. Other than that, it also possessed unparalleled power. Heaven's light, moon's reading, kaleidoscope, God's might, Yi Xie, Nhe. A series of super moves. The Sharingen was also a type of inheritance. However, it was also a technique. If he could comprehend it, he would definitely be able to break through the array formation. Long Fei was facing a kinship attack, and he already could not endure it any longer. Most likely, not only these women, even the relatives of Long family's people would appear, and maybe even the brothers in Immortal Domain. Long Fei could not bear it. He really couldn't bear this kind of heart attack. It was too hard. Sharingen. Long Fei kept on thinking in his mind, constantly thinking about the instant when every Sharingen in the Fire Shadow world was released. Every step, from the initial stage to the advanced stage, to the ultimate move. Long Fei didn't let go of even a single step. With 500% of his abilities, he had the ability to comprehend techniques from another world. Long Fei wanted to enter the world of fire right now, just like the first blood-wheel eyes that appeared from the shadow of the flames. He would just stand there quietly, feel it, and comprehend it. Savage City, Great Clan Elder's Mansion. Tian Qing's gaze tightened, and said with a heavy tone, "Killing heart battle, why have I never heard of it before?" Reporting to Great Clan Elder, this was passed down to the Patriarch by the Powerhouse. "I heard that it is a formation that surpassed all of the needles in the God's martial continent, and no one can break it." Tian Qing asked, "What about Long Fei and the rest?" That person replied, "So far, everything has been crushed. Other than Long Fei, the 4 great king-level entities are hanging by a thread. As long as we use a little more strength in the formation array, the 4 of them will immediately die." Tian Qing's face sank. The faces of all the elders in the hall changed. Their red armor warrior was completely wiped out, but Heaven only had one array to completely suppress the unstoppable Long Fei. The difference in strength between them and Heaven was too big. The corner of his eyes twitched, and he said in a heavy voice, "Don't even think about getting what I can't get. You want to control Long Fei? I won't let you succeed." And then, Tian Qing shouted, "Go to the City Lord's mansion." Once Long Fei was controlled by him, no matter how strong he was, it would be useless. Long Fei was the key to success or failure. He had to be the one to obtain the Dragon Domain. In front of that powerhouse, he could obtain everything he wanted. Become the master of the heaven, the master of the barbarians, the ruler of the gods' martial continent. If he didn't get, he would be stomped to death by Heaven like an ant. Today, Red Armor Warrior was clearly aware of this fact even in front of his cannon fodder, Tian Qing. This world is a world where people eat people. If you want to not be eaten, then you must be vicious and unscrupulous. Tian Qing's eyes turned sinister. The killing heart battle technique was controlled by Heaven. When Heaven left, the array formation automatically activated, but the speed of circulation was not fast. The elders who were watching the array didn't know what was happening. They could only see that the array was operating and that only the caster would be able to see what was happening inside. Suddenly, a commotion broke out in the backyard of the City Lord's mansion. "Humph! Who dares to stop me?" Tian Qing shouted angrily, "If you want to die, then go ahead. I have something important to discuss with the Patriarch. If anyone tries to stop me again, don't blame me for being rude." A large wave of elders rushed into the City Lord's mansion. Not long after, he arrived at the City Lord's guest hall, where he could clearly see the killing heart battle. Tian Qing's eyes turned sinister as he looked at the killing heart battle slightly, and shouted, "Where's the patriarch?" "Grand Elder, the patriarch has important matters to attend to. He'll be back soon." An elder replied. "Important things? What is important? Is it more important than capturing Long Fei? Now that Long Fei has already killed his way into the savage city and you guys are still sitting here, have you forgotten what the powerhouse has told you to do?" Tianqing said deliberately. Several elders laughed. One of the elders said, "Great clan elder, Long Fei is inside the array, he is being crushed like a dead dog, he cannot escape." Tianqing pretended to be shocked and asked, "He's in the array? Don't joke with me. You were at the city gates just a moment ago, and now you're here?" The elder replied, "He really is inside." Tianqing immediately asked, "What formation? Open it for me, kill so many of my red-armored guards, I must skin Long Fei alive." "Finished." Tianqing shouted, "Men, go inside the formation and capture him." The people beside the Grand Elder immediately rushed forward. One of the elders said, "Great Elder, you cannot enter this array. If you want to capture him, wait for the patriarch to come back." "Why? Using the patriarch to suppress me?" Tianqing was furious, and immediately slapped him away. With great force, he slapped the elder down to the ground. In the Tian clan, other than the clan head, his cultivation was the strongest. He was also the second evolved person. His strength was only second to heaven. The elder was stunned by the slap, unable to find the north. Tianqing shouted loudly, "Who dares to stop me? Long Fei killed so many of my men. If I don't teach him a lesson, how will I be able to stand up in Savage City?" Tianqing's eyes stared straight at the elders who stopped them. At this moment, a group of black shadows appeared in the hall and coldly said, "If he wants to go in and throw his life away, then let him go in. Don't stop him." The surroundings instantly quieted down. Tianqing also looked up, his gaze sinister. Protector Black, Heaven's personal guard. It could even be said to be Heaven's shadow. The faces of the elders changed as they all called out respectfully, "Protector Black." The black shadow looked down on one's appearance. It was covered by the black robe and it looked just like a black robe floating on the ground. Protector Black's gloomy voice sounded out, "Great Elder, didn't you say you want to enter the array? Go ahead. Long Fei is inside. Go in and capture him." Tianqing clenched his fists tightly. He had never thought of going into the array to capture him, he had only wanted to create trouble and stop Heaven from capturing him. He did not expect Heaven to not be present. Tianqing stared at the Black Protector and sneered, "Since the Patriarch is not here, when is it your turn to speak?" It was also at this time. The black figure moved and instantly appeared in front of Tianqing. It stared coldly at Tianqing and said, "Great Elder, don't be so shameless, understand? Finished." The black figure moved, a ghost claw-like hand suddenly extended out, grabbing onto the air, grabbing onto an elder beside Tianqing, he fiercely threw him into the array. "Ah!" A blood-curdling screech sounded. At this moment, the elder landed in Long Fei's space. The corner of Long Fei's mouth quirked into a sinister smile. Chapter 1060, Sharing and Activated. Chapter 1060, Sharing and Activated. In the space. The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up, he glanced at the experience slot and faintly smiled, "I just happened to be short of a few experience points upgrades. Why level up?" This was because he needed the leveling reward. Even after comprehending Sharingen for half a day, he still did not manage to comprehend it. It was truly irritating. If he could trigger the leveling reward, then there might be another possibility. The elder stood up and looked at Long Fei. "Illusions, illusions, these are all illusions. You are not Long Fei, right?" "Yes. I am not Long Fei, I am your ancestor." Long Fei took out his Dragon Salia S. Without saying a word, he rushed forward and slashed down. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Elder Tian Clan for obtaining 180,000 experience, 12,030 power of celestial and 10 energy values. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for leveling up. The current level is Immortal Stage Level 2. The system beep did not ring again. Long Fei was depressed. Damn, why didn't I trigger the leveling reward? The leveling rewards were the same as the drop rates. Sometimes they could trigger, sometimes they couldn't. It has a certain randomness and does not always receive a leveling reward. No leveling reward. Seems like there really is no other way. Long Fei's heart sank. Could it be that the only way is to comprehend the Sheringan? Yuan Ba, Sky Spirit, what happened to you too? Long Fei was exceptionally worried. Bedevilment. Long Fei was once again possessed, his heart turning sinister. No matter what, this time, I must comprehend it. Upgrade reward entrustment failed. Right now, the only thing Long Fei could do was to comprehend Sheringan S to break this illusion. As long as he could break this illusion, he would be able to break this killing heart battle. Sheringan, Sheringan. Long Fei's mind began to frantically comprehend as he threw himself into it with all his heart. He muttered in his heart, "Brothers, wait for me." And then, Long Fei entered a state of selflessness. The Sheringan was a kind of blood vein inheritance. Only the people of the Yuji-Bo clan, or people who had gotten their eyes, could release it. It was also a type of cultivation technique. However, it was extremely difficult to comprehend being halfway between the two. This was the predicament that Long Fei was currently in. However, Long Fei would not give up. Tian Qing looked at the elder beside him who was pushed into the array, his eyes becoming gloomy. "Black Protector, what do you want to do?" The Black Shadow slightly said, "I don't want to do anything. I just want to remind Great Elder that this is the City Lord's mansion. If you want to behave atrociously, first, clearly see where this is." There was arrogance in his voice. He did not even put Tian Qing in his eyes. If they were to fight, he would not be afraid. Both of Tian Qing's eyes burned with anger as he roared, "Impudent! Who do you think you are? You are just a dog raised by the Tian family. You dare to be so arrogant in front of me? Do you think I won't dare to touch you?" Tian Qing was also angry. Being humiliated in public naturally made him unhappy. Protector Black smiled sinisterly and said, "Try touching me." At this moment, the aura in the hall turned into a powerful force that came crushing down. A figure landed, stared at Tian Qing, and said coldly, "Great Clan Elder, you want to touch my people?" The one who came was Heaven, who had just returned from a secret room. He wanted to be stronger than he was half an hour ago. Obviously, in this half hour, he had gained an even more powerful strength. Tian Qing's mind trembled, and was instantly crushed. His face secretly darkened, and said with difficulty, "Patriarch, he was the one who made the first move." Humph! Heaven swept his sleeves, and snorted coldly, "Tian Qing, Master had summoned me just now. If you still dare to pester and obstruct me from controlling Long Fei, I will definitely not show mercy. This is the Lord's meaning, do you understand?" Tian Qing's face turned cold, and did not dare to say another word. However, he hated Heaven to the core. "Use your master to pressure me. Heaven, I will definitely not let you control Long Fei so easily." At this time, Heaven took a step forward to look at the killing heart battle, then asked, "What's different about the formation?" The Black Protector replied, "There's nothing abnormal. Everything is normal." Heaven moved his body and instantly entered the formation. Looking at the space between Long Fei's eyebrows that shook a little, he coldly laughed, "Demonic body? Humph! Do you think I have no way to deal with you?" Heaven's voice sounded within Long Fei's space, and he said, "Long Fei, transformed into a devil, and your devil heart doesn't have any weakness. I didn't expect you to actually have some." However, the moment Heaven finished speaking, the idea immediately moved forward and laughed complacently. "Since your devil body doesn't have any weaknesses, then let's look at your brothers." A huge projection appeared in Long Fei's spatial realm. Li Yuanbar's entire body was covered in blood, his entire body was filled with wounds, and he was barely standing. Looking at Long Fei who was in front of him, he said, boss, what happened to you?" "Boss." From beginning to end, Li Yuanbar did not retaliate. They could only allow Long Fei to hit them. In his heart, the Long Fei in front of him was his boss. Stupid. Long Fei was the most worried in his heart, and also the weakest. Just like Li Yuanbar, the Ahut was also covered in blood and was on the verge of death. Ahut did not fight back. Heaven laughed complacently, and said, "Long Fei, watch this little brother getting abused, is that good? As long as you nod your head, I'll immediately let them go." and promise never to touch them. Long Fei closed his eyes and did not speak. Heaven sneered and said, "Then let's look at two more. Look at your other two brothers. Look at this Lin Yusheng, kneeling on the ground. He thinks that the one kneeling is his god's water tribe's patriarch, but it's actually me, ha ha ha. Pitiful worm, look at this kid, he's sound asleep. He thought his mother was holding him in her arms, but it's only a dog holding him, ha ha ha." He began to laugh maniacally. Long Fei remained indifferent. And then, Heaven moved and said, "Long Fei, do you want to know where the array core of the Killing Heart battle is? Actually, the core of this formation is the heavenly star. You want to break the array? Then kill her. You have no other choice, you can only listen to me obediently. Otherwise, I will make you suffer till you die," Heaven slowly said. Remained silent. He didn't seem to care at all. Heaven lost his patience and spoke coldly, "From the looks of it, you think that I'm messing around with you before killing the few of you?" Anger flared in his eyes. Heaven's idea controlled the array formation, and the power inside the array immediately changed. The Long Fei who was attacking Li Yuanbar suddenly sped up. With the increase of his strength, Li Yuanbar continuously spat out blood, unable to resist. He was going to die soon. In that instant, a system announcement suddenly sounded out in Long Fei's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for comprehending the Sharingan. Do you wish to cultivate it? Long Fei opened his eyes, his pupils changing. Chapter 1061 Illumination of the Sky. Chapter 1061 Illumination of the Sky. The pupil of his eyes changed. The strong stimulation caused Long Fei's eyes to suddenly change. The Sharingan that had changed into kaleidoscope mode. Moreover, it was the kaleidoscope of the weasel. After regaining real face, Long Fei's eyes moved and he immediately stood up. In that moment, Long Fei saw through the illusion of the Killing Heart battle. "Your eyes." Heaven was startled. He had seen the blood pupil and the black pupil, but his pupils had turned into a spiral shape, something he had never seen before. Moreover, Long Fei's eyes were bleeding. Long Fei said sinisterly, "You've never seen it before, right? You'll see it soon." Heaven gave a cold laugh and said, "Long Fei, this formation is a heart-severing great formation, a formation of the Chaos Realm. You want to break it? That's impossible. I advise you to obediently listen to me, or else you will die an ugly death." He was very clear about the might of the Killing Heart battle. Not to mention Long Fei, even the top powerhouse of the Flying Fairyland found it hard to break through. It did not even belong to this world's array. Thus, Heaven was fearless. He was not worried that Long Fei would be able to break through the array. Instead, he laughed complacently and said, "I'll give you one last chance." Without waiting for Heaven to finish speaking, Long Fei's left eye moved, the illusion in his eye broke, and he immediately saw through the Killing Heart battle. Following that, his eyes moved. Buzz! His power surged. Chaos Realm formation, right? The way he died was ugly, right? Last chance, right? I will let you know what your last chance is. Ah! Long Fei roared at the sky, all the energy in his body gushed out, facing the space above him. He suddenly stirred at the Killing Heart battle, Heaven's illumination. Boom! A mass of black flames roared out, crazily burning. The place of combustion was nothing but ashes. Suddenly, this made him completely unprepared and unresponsive. Heaven could not react in time either. What is the Killing Heart battle? It was the array formation of the Chaos Realm, an existence that no one in the gods' martial continent could break through. As the flames burned, the formation began to crack. In less than half a minute, the formation would be broken. Moreover, Heaven was already unable to control the Killing Heart battle. Looking at it being burned by the black flames, his heart was filled with anxiety. And at this moment, Long Fei rose into the air and shouted loudly, "Yuan Ba, Ahut, Sky Spirit, Lin Yusheng." His voice was like a thunderclap that exploded in the hearts of the four of them. Suddenly, the four of them quickly regained their composure. Li Yuanbar let out a furious roar, causing the golden-armored giant spirit god in the coffin to move. Yuan Ba grabbed at the air, took out the giant spirit axe, and chopped at the air with its axe. "Break for me." Rumble. An incomparably loud sound rang out. The formation began to collapse at high speed. The black flames were still burning. Long Fei floated in the air, the four people behind him were standing and Tian Xing was unconscious on the ground. Li Yuanba said, "Boss, just now." Long Fei said, "Earlier, the both of you were in your own illusions, and it was he who made those illusions. Lin Yusheng, Ahut, you two go down and protect the heavenly star. Yuan Ba, Sky Spirit, you deal with the elders, I will deal with the boss." Long Fei quickly said, and coldly stared at the heavenly spirit, and said, "Killing heart battle, right? Illusion, right? I'll let you know what illusion techniques are." He closed his right eye and moved his left eye. Blood sacrifice world. Buzz. In this instant, heaven's world turned into a world of blood-colored mist, and blood filled the entire sky. From above, Long Fei looked like a god from above as he stared at him and sneered, "Welcome to my world." Ha ha ha. Here, Long Fei was king. The paragons. With a thought, heaven's body suddenly sank. A death scythe was placed on his neck as Long Fei laughed sinisterly, "Die." The sickle moved. Reaping the harvest to his neck, heaven's eyes froze and his body trembled, as if he had seen the most terrifying thing in the world. "No, no, don't." Sickle harvesting. His neck was bleeding. For a moment, he saw his own death. No one could overcome the fear of death. Heaven's body was trembling, and his pants dripped with urine, causing him to pee in his pants. However, his cultivation was at the advanced stage of the flying immortal stage, and his mental state and divine sense were beyond ordinary. The most important thing was that he was an evolved human and he was up against illusions. He suddenly pulled out a dagger and stabbed down at his thigh. Ah! Buzz. The world of blood sacrifice ruptured. The surrounding blood mist dispersed and returned to the real world, but there was a bloody wound on his neck, and his crotch was wet from fright. He was completely enraged. Heaven shouted fiercely, "Long Fei." Long Fei smirked and said coldly, "Why are you calling your ancestors?" Heaven became furious and took a step forward, "I want you dead." Long Fei was not afraid, and said, "I want you to die too." Swish. Heaven's figure suddenly disappeared, and instantly appeared in front of Long Fei, revealing a sinister face. He smashed down with his palm at the top of Long Fei's head. Golden Dragon Protector. Long Fei did not dodge and roared in his heart, level 9 unparalleled. Buzz. He released his attribute power of 512 times. Super Saiyang, transform. 1000 blessings sec. A giant golden palm struck towards Heaven's chest. Boom, boom. 2 loud bangs. Long Fei's body heavily landed, and smashed onto the ground. A deep crater was formed on the ground, and the surrounding area of the crater had cracked open. Heaven also spat out a mouthful of blood, his body falling down from the explosion, directly smashing the hall into pieces. This time with a clash of power, he had a 50% chance of breaking it. However, the moment Long Fei was smashed to the ground, his body bounced, and he instantly flew away. Shua. His figure shot out like a rocket. To deal with a powerhouse at the peak of the flying fairyland, he must not give him any chance to catch his breath. Once he is given this chance, Long Fei will definitely not be his match. It was to take advantage of his illness and take his life. In the instant that he could not react, he was directly blasted to death. Long Fei took a step forward, and like a ghost, he instantly rushed to the hall. At this moment, Protector Black was like a mass of black mist, quickly blocking in front of Long Fei, causing Long Fei's eyes to turn sinister. Nox, attack. Yes sir. Boom. A basketball fell from the sky with a bang, directly blowing up the ground. A bandit-like monster stood in front of Black Protector. At this moment, Great Clan Elder Tian Qing blocked it too. Galen. Yes sir. Boom. A great sword dropped down, blocking at Long Fei's side, and shouted out, "Person is in the tower." The 2 great powerhouse S were blocked by the 2 great holy general S. The dragon Salia in Long Fei's hand fell and dragged it along the ground. The idea was ready to link with the barbarian king at any moment, and a sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Let's see who kills who. Chapter 1062 Master, save me. Chapter 1062 Master, save me. All of this happened in an instant. Long Fei rushed towards the hall. Nox, Galen summoned. Dragon slaying dragged on the ground, flames spewing everywhere, and with a thought, the super science power was unleashed to its limits. The dragon Salia suddenly trembled, and then, it was struck by a huge force. Boom! The entire savage city was trembling. Heaven, who had just crawled up from the ground, did not even have time to react before a hurricane swept over. Sure, Heaven's eyes were filled with anger, and he bellowed, Long Fei, with just you. The onslaught of the hurricane was completely useless. However, the hurricane was only used to disturb Heaven's line of sight. Long Fei's body disappeared. Boom! In the midst of the hurricane, Long Fei's body carried a powerful gravitational impact that directly sent Heaven flying. The dragon Salia moved, and instantly started dancing wildly. Whirlwind. The saber danced wildly. The entire hall was filled with the aura of blades that wantonly swept across. Wherever the blades went, they turned into powder, and half of the hall was flipped upside down by Long Fei. They danced wildly in midair. 637 slashes. 896 slashes. The 1,000 slaughter. Fall for me. With the last slash, the blade descended and heavily smashed Heaven onto the ground. A deep crater was created on the ground. Heaven said disdainfully, Do you only have this little power? Is that all you can do? Ha ha ha. Not enough. Heaven's health was also extremely terrifying, reaching as high as 4.8 billion. The dragon Salia was retracted. Long Fei moved and the Xianshan sarcophagus came out. Holy Sword 81 moves. Attack, whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk. The shocking sword spirit erupted, and all the swords from the Xianshan sarcophagus flew out like thunderbolts, heavily striking the top of Heaven's head. You dare be so arrogant for lousy. One sword was fiercer and fiercer, the other sword was sharper and sharper. It carried an incomparably powerful penetrating force. The Heaven, who was originally about to crawl back up, was once again smashed to the ground. Seeing the amount of blood that floated above his head and the more than 1,000 consecutive attacks, Long Fei moved. Fei. The Thunder Dragon Pearl moved, and Feia rushed out with her magic staff in hand. A deep sound. The sky was filled with dense thunder clouds, which flashed with lightning, all of the lightning condensed in one place, like a ray of laser light, fiercely striking towards Heaven's head. Boom, 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 boom. His hair was disheveled, and he kneeled heavily on the ground. He couldn't even raise his head. It was incomparably tragic. Feia had evolved quite a bit over a long period of time. Her attacks could be AoE or single-target attacks, and these attacks were even more intense. Heaven, are you feeling good? Make a move on my brother. This old man has been asking you if you feel good about messing with my family. Long Fei bellowed hysterically as he vented the anger in his heart crazily. Heaven raged, and was completely crushed by Long Fei's consecutive attacks. Even if he had the strength now, he wouldn't be able to release it. Half a minute later, the amount of blood on top of Heaven's head had decreased by more than half, and his entire body was bleeding. His hair was tattered, and his face was charred black. Feia finished releasing her energy. With a flash, he entered the Thunder Dragon Pearl. As the lightning disappeared, Heaven instantly stood up and charged straight forward. A powerful force was released, wanting to blast Long Fei flying. However, at this moment, a staff came smashing down. With 1,000,000 times gravity. Boom. It instantly sent him back to his original place. The gravity troll held its huge rod, and sneered at Heaven, who was in the deep pit. Obediently lie on the ground for my boss, and don't even think about getting up for the rest of your life. As soon as he finished, the giant rod on the gravity troll smashed down crazily. Leimo moved. Lightning strikes. The powerful earth constraint from the earth demons bound Heaven tightly to the ground, making him unable to move. Is it good? I told you, the person who touched me won't have a good ending. Long Fei said sinisterly, looking at the amount of blood on top of Heaven's head as he shouted, bomb it to death. At this moment, in another place. Sigh. Seems like it's starting. The corner of the black-robed supreme god's mouth revealed a cold smile, and said, "It's my turn now. Be it powerhouse or the weak. Fighting is one thing. Ferocious. You are not afraid of death. You don't care about your life. You can scare those people to death. If you were able to grab that momentary opportunity, even a martial arts expert would be killed by your chaotic fists." Long Fei looked like he had just eaten a marvel. He simply could not stop and continued to attack, one move after another. "You bastard, you have too much HP. This daddy has too many moves. I might not even have any effect attacking you for a few hours. Let's see how much HP you can use." 480 billion HP was truly too much. Long Fei could only use his martial arts to continuously attack. This was all they could do. Right now, he didn't have any moves that could deal several hundred million or even a billion damage. This was the most urgent and extreme power that he lacked right now. He felt that his strength had already reached its limit. Even if he broke through the flying fairyland, it would be difficult for his strength to have a big breakthrough. It was difficult to create an instant kill. These flying fairylands numbered in the hundreds of millions, or in the billions, or in the billions. If there wasn't a powerful force capable of causing devastating damage, the road ahead for Long Fei would be extremely difficult. After all, the palace question of God was now contacting the super powerhouse of the entire God's martial continent, forming a super alliance to deal with him. Open Dragon Domain, urgently needed. Long Fei needed more power. When the God Emperor City made his move against Jiu Tongtian, Long Fei deeply felt that his attack was weak. Now, facing heaven, was still the same. He had to obtain even more powerful strength. The power of the dragon race was his only choice. However, even if it was the most difficult boss to kill, Long Fei would fight him to the death. Facing heaven, who was in the deep pit, Long Fei jumped up with a single step, and with a move of his idea, he shouted, "Big sword, descend." Damar's big move struck towards heaven. Consecutive attacks. Long Fei moved his right hand, and grabbed out a handful of Pan Jiu axe, the guillotine. Boom. Still not dead. Let's see how long you can hold on. Both of Long Fei's fists exploded, the raging ape's power in his arms roared, and facing heaven, who was in the deep pit, both of Long Fei's fists surged, like a violent storm, as they struck down. Mountain hit fists. 1 million combo. I don't believe that I can't kill you. So what if it has 4.8 billion HP? As long as I can break your defense, even if my health is 1 trillion, I can still blast you into smithereens. Long Fei roared, both fists striking towards heaven. Bam! 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 The crowd was stunned. Was this person even human? He was simply a madman that had gone berserk. Heaven was finally afraid, a chill ran through his body, and he shouted into the air, "Master, save me, save me." Chapter 1063, Transforming Sky Dragon. Chapter 1063, Transforming Sky Dragon, the 8th level of the Flying Immortal stage. The pinnacle of existence in this world. However, he was beaten up to the point where he had no way of fighting back. He hit Master. What was fierce? This was fierce. The amount of blood on top of Heaven's head decreased bit by bit as he unleashed the tyrannical power of the mountain hit fist in its entirety. That feeling of being the supreme existence in all the realms of the 9 heavens. Long Fei rode on Heaven's body and spoke in an incomparably savage manner. Is he called Master? It's no use calling your ancestors 18 generations of ancestors. Your father will kill you today. Master. Save me, quick, save me. Heaven's voice continuously sounded. He was truly afraid. He was trembling all over. Long Fei was too powerful. He was not even human. He, who was at the 8th stage of the flying immortal realm, could easily crush Long Fei, but now, he had been completely crushed. Even he himself didn't know how he had been crushed. How baffling. In that instant, the air moved, and a ball of black mist floated in the sky above Long Fei's head like a spirit. Long Fei didn't even look at it, and said disdainfully, "Enough is enough for your grandpa, you're just an idiot. You say enough is enough. I still haven't had enough." Facing a boss that only had 1/10 of its HP remaining, Long Fei could not let go. However, at this moment, The expression on the Holy Spirit's face changed. His eyes darkened as he suddenly attacked the black fog in the sky. "Ah! I will kill you." This voice was very familiar to him. It was a voice he would never forget. This was the voice he had heard in his mother's womb. This was the voice that had killed his mother. "Humph! With just you." The black smog's voice was filled with rage. It looked at the incoming celestial spirit and completely ignored it. A surge of power formed an intimidating aura as it came crushing down. Buzz. Rumble. Without waiting for the Holy Spirit to approach, he was smashed to the ground, creating a deep crater on the ground. It was like a meteor smashing into the ground. "Heavenly Spirit! Heavenly Spirit!" Li Yuanba, Ahat, and the others shouted at the same time. Long Fei also tensed up. He did not know why the Sky Spirit was so angry, but thinking about the fact that this was Qian family, it definitely had something to do with his background. He had promised his mother he would take care of him. Moreover, he also promised his heavenly spirit that he would definitely avenge him. Now the enemy of the Sky Spirit had appeared. Long Fei slightly raised his eyes. His heart was even more shocked. "Wow, F***CK. This is the Savage City's ultimate boss. The purple light was blinding. Super boss. The master of Qian family? Or could it be? If it was the latter, then the powerhouse in Chaos Realm was too terrifying. If even our idea was a purple level boss, then what level was his real face? This was a heaven-defying boss. F***CK. Long Fei shouted out in his heart, but he suddenly lost interest in Heaven, who was below him. He thought that Heaven was Savage City's ultimate boss, however. He was wrong. Compared to the purple glow on that ball of black mist, Heaven wasn't even fart. However, Heaven only had 300 million HP remaining. If he was given a few more minutes, he would be killed. "I can't miss it." Long Fei roared out, and said, "I'll kill you first." Boom. Long Fei's fists did not stop, and he continued to attack. That ball of black mist was extremely furious, as if someone had trampled on its own dignity. The deep voice called out again, "I told you to stop, didn't you hear me? Long Fei, I think you're tired of living." In an instant, a stream of energy gushed out from the black mist and smashed down heavily. Long Fei's mind sank and the energy source within his sea of consciousness seemed to have been drained. It was instantly crushed. The head of the Yuan Long's body and Yuan Long appeared in a flash. "Brat, are you going to make it or not?" Scram. Long Fei roared, both fists still striking Heaven. He was about to die, about to die. Long Fei will not let go even if he dies. Boom. Another wave of power burst out. Long Fei's body sank. The power of the King Kong Fury ape on his arms was crushed and disappeared. Long Fei felt extremely miserable right now. His fist had no strength left at all. All the damage caused was left on the ground, and he would not be able to unleash any of his strength. More importantly, at this moment, a black figure landed from the sky. The person he was extremely familiar with was the Supreme God. Long Fei was dumbstruck, his eyes filled with incomparable shock. "You're not dead." Impossible. The system had clearly killed him. How could he not die? Long Fei couldn't understand. However, this was not the time to be thinking about this. What Long Fei needed to do now was to kill Heaven and blow him away. The corners of Supreme God's mouth curled up as he coldly laughed. "You didn't think of that, right? Ha ha ha." Shocked. "However, you can be at ease. This time I am not here for you in Savage City." But for him Supreme God sneered in disdain. "City Lord, have you considered my suggestion from last time?" It could be said that this was the most crucial moment. Without waiting for Heaven to speak, Supreme God said, "You didn't think it through? If you didn't think it through, then think it over. I'm not in a hurry." Finished. Heaven quietly stood there and looked at Long Fei, continued. At this moment, after a short period of coma, the Holy Spirit woke up and once again charged up. It had an appearance of going completely berserk as it roared, "I'm going to kill you." However, without waiting for him to get close, he was once again blasted down. He wasn't a match at all. Even if he merged with the power of the Holy Spirit, he still wouldn't be his match. Long Fei was also crushed. He could not release any of his power now, so he gritted his teeth and shouted loudly, "I'll fuck your ancestors." Heaven laughed excitedly, and said, "Long Fei, the one in the sky is our heavenly family's master, Chaos Realm's super powerhouse. Now you're a dead dog." There was no power of Celestial. He couldn't release any of his power. His mind was being crushed, his sea of consciousness was being crushed, all of Long Fei's strength was being crushed. In this kind of situation, it was simply impossible for Long Fei to kill Heaven. Only by crushing the pressure in one's body would it be possible to kill Heaven. As long as the ancestor of the heavenly elder swordsman S was killed, Long Fei's gaze darkened, the idea linked with the Xianbao spirit stones, and roared out, "Activate." Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for activating Xianbao spirit stones. The current activation rate is 4 times. 1,000,000 power of celestial points were released. At this moment, Long Fei roared out, "Sky Dragon Divine Transformation Art, open it for me." Buzz. Long Fei's body suddenly changed, and at this moment, he roared loudly in his heart, 46 Dragon Ancestor, come out and devour this ball of black mist. Kill. Chapter 1064 Instant Killed Master, Overturning the Heavens. Chapter 1064 Instant Killed Master, Overturning the Heavens. Sky Dragon took the lead. The 46 Dragon Patriarchs all took action. The sky turned into a land of dragons. It was as if the dragon domain was here. Above the entire savage city was the dragon ancestor. The scene was extremely shocking. Even the palace question of God was stunned. So many huge dragons. A total of 47. This is too shocking. Seems like the open dragon domain isn't far away. The powerhouses gathered by Jiyu Tongtian all revealed expressions of excitement. There were more than 60 powerhouses present in the hall. All of them were powerhouse of the flying fairyland. They were the strongest existences in the gods' martial continent. Jiyu Tongtian frowned. He secretly thought, last time, 14th dragon ancestor, this time, there were 47, seems like Long Zhanting gave Long Fei all the inheritance. But that's good too. This way, the day when the dragon domain opens will get closer and closer. Jiyu Tongtian laughed complacently in his heart, Long Fei, this time you are enemies with the entire gods' martial continent. Let me see how you can block this. In the air above Savage City, 47 stood in the sky and stared at the black fog. Long Fei ordered, swallow it. Roar. Roar. The dragon roared in all 4 directions and simultaneously rushed up. It opened its blood basin and crazily bit down. Not kill. It was devouring. The dragon took the lead and wreaked havoc. The black mist didn't even have time to react before the powerful energy in its body was drained away crazily. The 47 dragon heads charged into the black mist. The black mist turned into a clump of thunderclouds. In just a few seconds. Rumble. The black mist exploded and immediately turned into dust. At this moment, the system sounded out, causing Long Fei's mind to tighten, and he immediately shouted, "Release your striking energy value." Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting 50,000 experience points for slaying Skyshore Phantom, 20,000 points for power of Celestial and 1 point for energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Sky Flipping Seal. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Great Desolation Bell. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Dao Tai Blood Vein. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Rainbow Glass Sword. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Full Moon Wheel. Congratulations to player Long Fei. All good things. They were all super holy artifact of the primordial era, and every single one of them were incomparable existences in the gods' martial continent. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for defeating the Mirage of the Heavens Chasm for obtaining a special reward of all skills, techniques, magic treasures, and war pet level +1. Boom. 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 A series of loud sounds burst out from within Long Fei's body like muffled thunder. Level 10 Wushuang, Great Perfection Stage. Super Saiyang has stepped into the 4th floor. Buddha Palm Technique leveled up. More importantly, Galen, 8th level of the Saint rank. Nox, 8th level of the Saint rank. Gravity Troll, Earth Demon, Lei Mo, they have all leveled up. The power of 47 Dragon Ancestral Saints have all been upgraded, and even Xiao Bai and Ice and Fire who are not in the War Pet space have all leveled up. Everything had been upgraded. Long Fei was stupefied. He stared blankly at the ground. Damn, isn't that too fierce? This is the Chaos Realm's boss. I want to go. I must go. Long Fei really wanted to charge into Chaos Realm. This was too satisfying. From the time he had transmigrated till now, he had never felt this good. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for rising 3 levels consecutively, in addition to the reward level. The current stage is Immortal Level 5. After the upgrade. As the strong energy flowed into Long Fei's body, each level of the Immortal Realm was different, and each level was a qualitative leap. He clenched his fists tightly, and it was as if his strength was being grasped within his hand. Long Fei laughed crazily. Ha ha ha. Awesome. Just a clone of the Chaos Realm had exploded so many things. If it was the real face, wouldn't it mean that he would explode into the sky? Ancestor, what kind of world is the Chaos Realm exactly? Heh. Patriarch. Why can you leave me some? You. Long Fei was instantly forced to such an extent, the items that he had dropped were all swept away by the Yang Huang Ancestor. Yang Huang Ancestor chewed crazily, and said, "A very exciting world, kid, you will definitely like it. Can you keep one for me? Just one, okay?" Long Fei was about to cry. He ate all the things that were dropped by the Yang Huang Ancestor without saying a word. Yang Huang Ancestor burped in satisfaction, and said, "This is what a holy artifact is, this is what power is, it's so satisfying. I left you one. Full moon wheel, this is a flying machine. I'll leave it for you to use." Yang Huang Ancestor acted as if he was very generous, and then his eyes darkened. With a face full of red light, he revealed an excited expression and said, "Kid, I'm going to go into closed-door cultivation. It's finally time for my remnant soul to break through." After devouring so many ancient holy artifact in a row, he had already touched the threshold of breaking through. After so many years, he was finally going to finish repairing the remnant soul. This was an important upgrade to the Yang Huang Ancestor. As long as he broke through, his strength would quickly return to him. That's it. Before he finished speaking, the aura of the Yang Huang Ancestor disappeared from Long Fei's body. Long Fei was stunned. "Your sister. My sky-flipping seal. My rainbow glass sword. My great desolation bell. With nothing, and without even seeing each other, do you still want to live?" Long Fei's liver was trembling, the pain was severe. It was too hard. This is cutting his flesh. However, if these things could help the Yang Huang Ancestor to break through, Long Fei would not hesitate at all. He was now even more determined that the Yang Huang Ancestor was incomparably powerful, to the point where even a single shadow of the powerhouse could be this strong. Long Fei didn't dare imagine it. At this moment, boom! With a loud bang, Nox, who was at the 8th level of the Holorranked, used the force of a thunderbolt and sent Protector Black to the guillotine. With a catcher sound, he was instantly killed. The system sounded out. A few items dropped. At this moment, a great treasure sword descended from the sky, directly splitting Tian Qing into two. The system notification sound resonated out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Tian Qing for obtaining 100 million experience, 190,000 power of celestial points, and 10 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Dragon Tail Tomb diagram. Heh! Dragon's Tail Tomb? Ha ha ha! With this map, we will be able to create the tomb with the dragon tail, and we will be able to fuse it. At that time the dragon domain will be able to open it. Long Fei was extremely excited. At the same time, along with the two loud sounds, Long Fei's gaze darkened as he yelled excitedly, "Heaven, it's your turn." Chapter 1065, The Strongest Alliance. Chapter 1065, The Strongest Alliance. As his voice fell, Long Fei swept his gaze over them. His eyes darkened. Holy T, heaven and the black-robed supreme god disappeared. Didn't even know when he disappeared. Li Yuanba ran over and said, "Boss, just now, they went through the void and I wanted to block them, but they were too fast and disappeared without a trace." He ran away. Heaven ran. The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled. To be able to destroy the illusion of the heavenly clan's master, it was much better than exploding him, and also. Long Fei laughed coldly, and said, "Run? The god's martial continent is only this big, where can he run to?" Li Yuanba immediately said, "Boss, then let's chase them." He had a silly look on his face. Long Fei laughed, "There's no need to be anxious, he must have gone to the outer world to cultivate. From what Supreme God is saying, Jiyu Tongtian should be gathering all the powerhouse in the entire continent." Heh heh. Long Fei laughed excitedly, and then muttered, "Jiyu Tongtian, I really have to thank you, the experience of the flying fairyland powerhouses is too great, you gathering them all together is just a gift of experience, ha ha ha. Just you wait till I open the dragon domain." The more powerhouse there were, the more excited Long Fei became. Right now, the demon beast's experience could not satisfy him at all. The flying fairyland's experience was too good. If he flipped through the palace question of God, it might directly soar to the highest level. Long Fei was not in a hurry now. Even with his current strength, he was not a match for the palace question of God. He did not know how many powerhouse Jiyu Tongtian had summoned. It would be fine to deal with 1 or 2 flying fairylands, but if there were a lot of them, Long Fei would have no chance of winning. Open the dragon tail tomb first, fuse with the power of the dragon tail, and then return to the Nantian region. Long Fei began to plan in his heart. His father had said before that when they were in the open dragon domain, he would bring the people from the Long family with him. Why is that? Long Zhanting did not explain, but there had to be a reason. The sky spirit walked up and said heavily, "Boss, thank you." The word thank you was very heavy, to a celestial spirit. Long Fei said, "You are my brother, and your enmity is mine. Previously, I thought that your enemy was some kind of family in God's martial continent, but now, it seems like it is Chaos Realm, so what if it is Chaos Realm? When the time comes." He clenched his fists and said, "When the time comes, I will definitely kill him myself and avenge my mother." Long Fei smiled slightly. The identity of the sky spirit was very special. If he was the son of a powerhouse, then his power was not something that could be activated by the power of the Holy Spirit. He needed even more power. Ahut walked up and said, "Boss, what about the elders and the black-armored warrior S?" Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "One word, kill." The 4 great king-level entities immediately moved, massacring in a frenzy. At the same time they massacred, Long Fei's experience points surged, as did the gang's experience points in the God's martial sect. Long Fei moved his body and looked at the Daotai blood vein. This was the only thing that the Yang Huang ancestor had left him with 2 eyes, and with a thought, he released the devouring vein's power and thought, "Devour." Buzz. A light sound rang out from within his body. The Daotai blood vein was engulfed by the devouring vein and the powerful energy fused into Long Fei's devouring vein. At this moment, a single drop of blood vein pellet fell from Long Fei's sea of consciousness, like a drop of blood essence falling onto a calm lake surface, and then, rumble, rumble. It set off waves of blood that were tens of thousands of feet high. It surged, and began to wreak havoc in a berserk manner. Long Fei's body flickered with a red light. Every drop of his blood was boiling and burning, and the power within the blood vein became even denser. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei, blood vein S, for its current level is level 2. Merging with the white tiger blood vein and leveling up by 1 level. Fusing with a Daotai blood vein would increase it by another level. Long Fei could faintly sense it. Looking at the densely packed and silent blood essence particles in his sea of consciousness, he thought to himself, 1 blood essence particle represents 1 rank. If all of it is activated, devouring vein S could be swallowed and fused. It could even convert the devoured blood vein into its own strength. Incomparable power. However, this was only one of the minor uses of the devouring vein, as its true power had yet to fully awaken. It had to be known that this was something that the Yang Huang ancestor had spent several years of effort to condense. Once it erupted at full power, its power would be unstoppable. The stage of the devouring vein was not in God's martial continent, but in Chaos Realm. The Chaos Realm was the world of Blood Vein. After fusing with the Daotai Blood Vein, Long Fei's gaze fell onto the dragon's tail tomb diagram. A mark was printed on the dragon's tail grave. Marks of the dragon race. Green Dragon Ancestor immediately replied, "This is the place. Boss, as long as you fuse with the power of your draconic tail, your attack power will be reduced to the power of your draconic claw." Sea Dragon King said excitedly, "Open Dragon Domain's days are numbered." Poisonous Ancestor said, "It's time for us to return to our homeland. After being displaced for over 6 million years, our power has already been wiped out by the passage of time. Only by returning to the Dragon Domain can our powers be activated once more." At that time, Huff. With the opening of the Dragon Domain, the day of the Dragon Clan's calamity was drawing closer and closer. The hearts of the surrounding dragon patriarchs sank. Half an hour later, they were all found by the Hell Core. Tian Xing also slowly woke up. Looking at Long Fei, she instantly pounced on him and cried out, "I thought I would never see you again." Long Fei lightly patted her back, and said, "Nothing, nothing." She could take anything, she couldn't leave Long Fei behind. Immortal Domain, Palace Question of God. Jiyu Tongtian personally went out to welcome them. "Ha ha ha. Welcome, Savage City Lord." Heaven was in a very sorry state. They fled in a sorry state. Master was so angry that he almost died from doing so. The moment he landed in Palace Question of God, he looked at the people in the Hall of Immortals and his expression turned sinister. Western Devil Lord, Dark Domain Lord, Patriarch Primordius. They were all the top powerhouses of the gods' martial continent. Jiyu Tongtian laughed. "Savage City, have you thought about it?" At this moment, Heaven said without any hesitation, "I'll join." "All right. Ha ha ha. From today onwards, we are family. Our goal is very simple, secret treasure of Long Clan, the power of longevity." Jiyu Tongtian said with a slight smile. "During this time, we will concentrate on cultivation and wait for the moment Dragon Domain opens." Heaven was slightly taken aback, then said, "Brother Jiyu, don't we need to catch Long Fei?" Jiyu Tongtian laughed. "There's no need, he's even more anxious than us. Open Dragon Domain is because the calamity for the dragon race is coming soon. If there were no open Dragon Domain, all of them would have been annihilated. What we need to do now is to wait." Jiyu Tongtian's eyes were filled with coldness as he looked into the distance and coldly said, "Long Fei, you can't win against me." Chapter 1066, Great Master, come in and play. Chapter 1066, Great Master, come in and play. 3 days later, the remaining powers of the Black Armored Warrior and the heavenly families were all slaughtered. Long Fei leveled up one more level, entering the 6th level of Immortal Ascension. On the 4th day, below Savage City, Long Fei and the rest of the 6 left. Li Yuanba said excitedly, "Boss, are we going back to the Nantian region?" Ahut also said excitedly, "I haven't gone back for many years. I wonder how Nantian region is doing now." "Boss, are we going back?" Lin Yusheng could not help but ask. Towards the Nantian region, they missed him dearly. They all want to go back earlier. Long Fei slightly said, "After we finish this matter, we will return to the Nantian region. It's not time yet." He had to obtain the dragon's tail tomb, which was one of the open dragon domain's conditions. Moreover, Long Zhanting had said before that when Open Dragon Domain returned to the Nantian region, he wanted Long Fei to find all the conditions within the Open Dragon Domain before being able to enter it. Tian Xing said slightly, "Long Fei, for heaven to escape, will he make a move against the people from Nantian region?" Long Fei said, "No, they are even more anxious than I am. I am the only one who is able to enter Open Dragon Domain, and before the Open Dragon Domain comes, they will be fine." This was only Long Fei's guess. As for the specifics, he was worried. No matter what. First, he found the tomb with the dragon's tail. The 6 of them headed deeper into the desert. Long Fei used his full moon wheel to fly, and like that, he flew for 3 whole days. Long Fei stood at the top and looked at the center of the earth. In a place shrouded in black mist, Long Fei took out the dragon's tail tomb diagram and muttered, "There, it should be the dragon's tail tomb." At this moment, Tianxin's gaze darkened, and he said, "Long Fei, below. Below us is the desolate abyss, which is also where the Savage Domain's treasure teleportation door is located. Transmission gate? A transmission gate that was linked to another realm? When Long Fei was at Savage City, he had always thought of destroying this transmission gate. After all, it was a threat to the gods' martial continent. Once the transmission gate was occupied by the outer space powerhouse, through its wanton attacks, the gods' martial continent would not be able to resist at all. Other than this, Long Fei was also thinking about another matter. He entered the transmission gate to see if it was connected to the Chaos Realm or some other plane. Long Fei shouted and said, "Let's go down." Shua. The full moon will moved and flew down with a swoosh. From high up in the sky, it looked like a mass of black fog, but in reality, it was a gigantic abyss. The abyss was extremely deep, as though it was connected to hell. Li Yuanba said, "Boss, this place is very dangerous. You must not go near that door. There is an extremely powerful force inside that door, and once you get near it, you will be sucked in." Li Yuanba revealed a look of fear. He was the Li Yuanba who was unafraid of the heavens and the earth. But now, there was a trace of fear in his eyes. It could be seen how terrifying the life forms of the transmission gate were. Long Fei replied, He had always been curious about the portal. Was it really linked to the Chaos Realm? What kind of world was the Chaos Realm? Were they all purple light bosses? So excited. Long Fei was inexplicably excited. After half an hour of flying, the 6 of them landed. At this moment, dozens of black-armored warriors rushed over, including the 4 clan elders of Tian family. "Who dares to trespass into this forbidden area? Take him down." Tian Xing immediately came forward, "For elders, it's me. I have urgent matters to attend to." "Heavenly Star?" An elder frowned at him and asked, "What urgent matter do you have to take care of?" Long Fei looked at the walls of the surrounding abyss, which had been engraved with all kinds of strange runes. These runes were very strange to others, but to Long Fei, they were very familiar. "A rune from the Dragon Clan." Long Fei secretly asked in his heart, "Azure Dragon, is it here?" The Green Dragon ancestor replied, "It's here. These runes are the Dragon Clan's language. The Dragon Tail Tomb is buried here, it's just that." Long Fei asked, "Just what?" Green Dragon ancestor asked, "Just how did the Yuan Long manage to do that in the past, and how did it end up here? Was coincidentally with the transmission gate? Could it be that he already thought of that? The Great Prophecy Technique, could it predict what would happen 6 million years later? Isn't this way too powerful?" Even the Green Dragon ancestor found it unbelievable. At this moment, one of the clan elders stared at Long Fei and bellowed, "Kid, what are you looking at? Then I'll dig out your eyes." Long Fei slightly raised his eyes, and coldly said one word, "Kill." Boom. Li Yuanba's body trembled, he took a step forward, and instantly grabbed onto the neck of the man who just spoke, raised him up in the air, and fiercely smashed him onto the ground. Rumble. The ground cracked and the old man coughed out a mouthful of blood. Li Yuanba stared at him like a lantern and asked, "Whose eyes are you digging?" It was extremely valiant. That elder was so scared that his whole body trembled. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Li Yuanba's fist had smashed down and directly smashed his head apart. Ding. "Congratulations, player." The system sounded out. Long Fei gained experience. It was also at this moment that the 4 great King Kong suddenly took action. They massacred in a frenzy, just like tigers rushing into a flock of sheep. The entire Deep Valley turned silent in a short 3 minutes. All killed. Towards his enemies, Long Fei would never be merciful. Long Fei said to the Green Dragon ancestor, "You go look for the door to the Dragon Tail Tomb, I will go take a look at this transmission gate." Transmission gate. There was a giant stone door in the blink of an eye. On the stone door, there were carvings of all sorts of vicious demons and vicious beasts. There was a stream of 7-colored light within the stone door, flickering with a fluorescent light. A light call came from inside, making people want to step forward. Long Fei walked towards the stone door. Voices kept ringing in his mind. Come in, come in, come in. Just like the courtesans of ancient times, the bewitching ladies in the courtyard constantly waved their handkerchiefs towards the pedestrians on the street. Uncle, come in and play. Great sir, I will make you happy. Uncle. Such a voice was full of temptation. Moreover, at the same time this voice came out, the goddess Ter in Long Fei's space ring started to tremble all of a sudden. It was very strange. It was as if the world within the sect belonged to it. Come in, come in. Long Fei was captivated. He walked forward step by step, as though he was unable to control his body. Boss, boss, Long Fei. The 5 people started shouting at Long Fei. Li Yuanba immediately hugged him and shouted, Boss, wake up, boss. Long Fei's body continued to move forward. Step by step, they arrived in front of the portal. The voice from inside the door was still ringing. Come in. Come in. It was as if it could captivate a person's soul. At this moment, Long Fei was 1 step away from entering the transmission gate. Chapter 1067, Dragon Warrior. Chapter 1067, Dragon Warrior. It was as if he was possessed. His spiritual will was completely controlled. Boss, boss. The 4 great King Kong shouted loudly. Long Fei remained indifferent. He had completely lost his will now, and the closer he got to the transmission gate, the more he was unable to extricate himself, and traces of energy linked his body, crazily pulling him into the transmission gate. At this moment, Long Fei took a step forward. He leaned his body forward, his nose entering the transmission gate S, his eyes entering the transmission gate S, half of his body entering the transmission gate S. At this moment, as if stimulated by some kind of strong power, Yang Huang ancestor who was deep inside the pubes suddenly woke up. A stream of power rushed out and exploded on Long Fei's mind. Rumble. Long Fei's heart sank, and instantly became clear. Ancestor. Yang Huang ancestor said solemnly, Brat, don't you dare move recklessly, this place is too dangerous. Chaos. Chaos, like a special space entering 2 planes, would constantly collide with the laws of this plane. If one was not careful, they would be annihilated. Moreover, on the other side, Long Fei saw another world. A world glowing with purple light. Bosses, bosses, they're all bosses, F***ck. Long Fei's blood began to boil, and he asked, Ancestor, is there any way to go? Yang Huang ancestor asked, have you gone mad or have you gone stupid? How are you going to get out of here? Are you still thinking about how to get out? Long Fei grinned, his heart itching. Looking at a special valley in the world across his path, all of the bosses in the valley flashed with a purple light. It was really too deadly. To Long Fei, this was a fatal temptation. Long Fei was excited in his heart. This is the Chaos Realm? This is too exciting. Yang Huang ancestor said, be careful, listen to my orders, and protect your own heart. Although Long Fei wanted to rush over, he still did as he was told. His mind sank and his sea of consciousness steadied. Buzz. The incomparably strong power of the Yang Huang ancestor enveloped Long Fei's entire body, and with a fierce push, he instantly returned to the deep canyon. Following closely behind, a surge of Yang Huang ancestor's power froze the transmission gate and said, don't look at the transmission gate, don't lose your heart. Boss. The 4 King Kong immediately surrounded him. Long Fei waved his hand and said, I'm fine. Yang Huang ancestor disdainfully said, something happened to you almost. If you had completely entered the transmission gate's body, you probably wouldn't have been able to come back. If not for a surge of energy awakening Yang Huang ancestor, Long Fei would have already entered the teleportation circle. The 4 King Kong could not pull him back at all. Long Fei scratched his head and asked in his heart, Ancestor, is there a way to go in? What was inside? It was a group of BOS, and they were all purple-colored bosses. If the purple mist was so thick that it could overturn the sky, what would happen if it were the real face? When Long Fei thought about that scene just now, his heart started to thump loudly. He really wanted to blow them over. The Yang Huang ancestor said, your body can't withstand it any longer. If you enter, you will be crushed by the chaotic laws. Do you think there's such an easy way in? If you want to enter, you need to have someone to lead the way, otherwise you won't be able to avoid the law. Long Fei immediately giggled. Ancestor, you are a super powerhouse of the Chaos Realm. You must have a way, right? How is it? Can you help me enter this place once? Long Fei really wanted to go in. He was just a madman who wanted the boss to lose its life. Facing against the supreme powerhouses of Jiu Tongtian, Heaven, and the Western Devil Lord, Long Fei's strength clearly didn't match up to his heart. Even if he practiced a lot of cultivation techniques, the damage he caused wasn't that great. He needed superhuman strength. The strongest firepower. It required a truly destructive power to instantly kill all the powerhouse in the flying fairyland. 1 billion HP? Instant kill. 5 billion was just as much as an instant kill. The Chaos Realm must have this kind of power, maybe those bosses could drop it. Yang Huang Ancestor said, "You want to go crazy, I don't want to go mad. I said it very clearly just now, your body can't withstand the crushing pressure of the ancient code's turbulence. Brat, it's better for you to find the dragon tail tomb now. Don't think about anything else." The Yang Huang Ancestor said. Actually, he wanted to enter the Chaos Realm even more than Long Fei. Because the Chaos Realm was his world. That familiar aura and familiar power made him extremely excited. However, Yang Huang Ancestor was clear that he could not enter yet. Even if he did, he would not be able to stay in Chaos Realm. Long Fei's current cultivation was still lacking a little. If a person wanted to break through to the next realm, then even if he entered a new plane, his cultivation level and strength would all be restricted. He would be like a piece of trash if he didn't suffer the baptism of the heavenly tribulation. He had to undergo the baptism of heavenly tribulation. Only then would they be able to fully integrate into the new world. Long Fei muttered, "Too boring. Patriarch. What you mean is, as long as I have a strong body, a body that can withstand the flow of laws and can enter the Chaos Realm?" Long Fei thought of something and said excitedly. Yang Huang Ancestor also said, "That's right, do you have a powerful physical body? Your body is only at the 5th level, you won't be able to take it." Long Fei said, "Is it because my body can withstand the flow of the ancient code and you're going to bring me in?" Yang Huang Ancestor thought Long Fei was provoking him and immediately said, "Yes, brat, can you do it?" Long Fei stopped talking with Yang Huang Ancestor and asked him, "Have you found it?" Green Dragon Ancestor said, "Found it. It's right in front of the transmission gate, the entrance is on the dragon mark." Long Fei immediately took large strides forward, his heart becoming excited, and he thought to himself, "It's true that my body is unable to withstand the ancient code's turbulence, but as long as we fuse the dragon tail of the Yuan Long, its body will be able to withstand the chaotic laws." Ha ha ha. What kind of person was the Yuan Long? Divinity. In a plane of a higher level than the Chaos Realm, his body could naturally withstand the chaotic laws of the Chaos Realm and enter the Chaos Realm. For the sake of the group of bosses, Long Fei was going all out. The 4 Great King Kong and the Heavenly Star Realm followed behind Long Fei. Looking at the gigantic dragon roar on the wall, Long Fei dropped a drop of his blood essence. He absorbed the blood essence. Buzz. The seal twisted and the door suddenly opened. Long Fei said, "Yuan Ba, Sky Spirit, the 2 of you follow me in. Ahat, Lin Yusheng, the 2 of you stay here. If the dragon seal is still locked and we have not come out, then you 2 should go to Nantian region." Finished. Long Fei took a step forward. Li Yuanba and the Holy Spirit contraction quickly followed. Boom. Long Fei and the other 2 landed on a cliff. In the distance, there was a coffin, and that was the Yuan Long's tail. All of them were dragon soldiers. Dragon warrior. Chapter 1068, Demonic Dragon. Chapter 1068, Demonic Dragon. Dragon warrior. They were all statues, as though they had been petrified by some sort of power. The entire space of the tomb was filled with the warrior dragon. Floating in the 4 corners were 4 super dragon warriors. Their shapes were very strange, like dragons and humans. It was just like a warrior dragon who had been possessed. They were guarding the tomb with the dragon's tail. Li Yuanba and Tian Ling were both dumbstruck and muttered, "Damn, what kind of world is this?" This was the first time the two of them had entered the dragon's tomb, and was incomparably shocked by everything that happened before their eyes. Even though Long Fei had entered the dragon's head, Dragon Body Tomb was still shocked. He wanted to be even more vicious than the previous two places. The heavenly spirit warned, "Be careful, these dragon warriors might be alive." He could feel that Long Fei and the others were not able to sense anything. These dragon warriors were flowing with spirit energy. It was clear that they were alive. Long Fei also had a premonition that these dragon warriors were alive. But he jumped down. Boom. He directly landed in the middle of the group of warrior dragons and said with a sunken voice, "Since you all are the guardians of the tomb with the dragon's tail, then wake up all of you. If you don't want to, then do it." With so many dragon warrior, how much experience did he have? Moreover, Long Fei didn't have the leisure to kill them one by one. Right now, he wanted to fuse with the Yuan Long's tail earlier and use the power of the Yuan Long's body to enter the Chaos Realm. He was going to kill the purple light boss. When Long Fei landed, a ray of light shot out from the ground, which immediately changed into the dim light of the dragon tail tomb, shining brilliantly, as though it was alive. Dragon warrior after dragon warrior was activated. As the petrification force receding, the dragon scale battle armor was revealed and a vigorous aura was continuously released. The entire space had turned into a killing field. Li Yuanba and the heavenly spirit also instantly jumped down, standing on the left and right side of Long Fei. Boom. Long warrior's footsteps suddenly shook, and everyone stared at Long Fei. Long Fei's voice sunk as he shouted loudly, "Do you know who this daddy is? I am the reincarnation of the Yuan Long, the leader of you all." Not waiting for him to finish, a dragon warrior rushed over. The dense dragon energy exploded out, forming a powerful shockwave that struck Xiong Longfei. Li Yuanba's body moved, and the stone coffin on his back suddenly dropped. When he was in front of Long Fei, his eyes turned sinister as he shouted, "Master, Titan, buzz." The giant spirit coffin released a buzzing sound. After that, the gold armor flew out and wrapped around Li Yuanba's body. Gold boots, wrist guard, helmet. The last item was the giant spirit axe. Li Yuanba's entire body seemed to transform and immediately became a Titan spirit warlord. The giant axe in his hand suddenly swept out. Staring at the incoming dragon warrior, he shouted, "Injure my boss? Get down." The axe hacked down. Crash. The giant spirit axe slashed open the void, and with a Kailar sound, that dragon warrior was instantly flipped over and heavily knelt on the ground, never to get up again. Instant kill. It was so sharp that it was a complete mess. Long Fei was dumbfounded. He said, "Damn, awesome." The heavenly spirit also shook violently, saying, "Yuan Ba, you're too fierce, isn't this the power that boss gave you?" Li Yuanba said naively, "This is still nothing, it's just an elementary fusion. Master said that as long as I can completely activate all of the Bloodvein's power, then I can become a super warlord of the giant spirit god race." The heavenly spirit let out a look of disdain, and said, "Are you still letting me live? That's nothing." The system sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Dragon Warrior for obtaining 20,000 experience, 10,000 power of celestial points, and 1 energy values. Good experience. Kill them all. The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted, and the dragon Salia in his hands dropped, as he said, "Kill them all for me." Once the dragon Salia appeared, the entire space shook, and the 4 demonic dragons in the 4 corners slowly began to loosen their petrification. Li Yuanba took a big step forward as the giant axe in his hand swept out in a berserk manner. The divinities flew in the air, seizing the opportunity to kill in an instant. Sky Tyrant strike. Rumble. Instantly sending a wave of dragon warrior flying, the dragon Salia moved and arrogantly rose. Facing these warrior dragons that dealt 500% super damage, the power of dragon slaying was completely released, causing large amounts of damage numbers to float up. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Dragon Warrior for obtaining 20,000 experience, 10,000 power of celestial points, 1 energy values. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 killing Dragon Warrior 4 obtaining 20,000 experience, 10,000 power of celestial points, 1 energy values. The system beeps echoed crazily. The experience bar was also surging crazily. Upgrading 1 required over 2 billion experience, and 1 or 2 million experience could be raised by 1,000 Dragon Warrior S. 1 hour later. In the vast tomb space, more than 800 Dragon Warrior were killed. Right now, there were only 4 Super Dragon Demons left. In 4 corners. The 4 Super Dragon Warrior S that were surrounded by devil flames had awakened. Ah, ha, ha. Woo ha ha ha. We're finally free. It's been more than 6 million years. We're finally free. A dragon demon laughed deeply, stared at Long Fei who was in the center of the field, and said with a smirk of contempt, "Brat, seeing that you've killed all these Dragon Warrior, I'll spare your life, get out of here. This kid really has some skill. The 2 people beside you are also not bad, to be able to kill so many Dragon Warrior S. Big brother, did you forget what he said just now? He is the reincarnation of the Yuan Long." The 4 dragon demons began to discuss amongst themselves. Upon hearing the words the reincarnation of the Yuan Long, the eyes of the dragon demon in the lead tightened, and his huge body suddenly moved, instantly flying out. Shua. It was too fast. It instantly appeared in front of Long Fei, not giving Li Yuanba and the Sky Spirit time to react. The dragon demon looked down from above, his 2 eyes stared straight at Long Fei, and said with a cold voice, "You are the reincarnation of Yuan Long?" Long Fei's mouth hooked up, his eyes slightly raised, and said, "No." The dragon laughed loudly. Without waiting for him to finish laughing, Long Fei arrogantly said, "I disdain the reincarnation of Yuan Long. I am me, an existence that surpasses anything. You. He'll be trampled to death by me, too." As soon as he finished, the dragon salya in Long Fei's hand moved, and black flames surged on the dragon salya, dark dragon god slash. The saber slashed down. Evil dragon was angered, he snorted and said, "With such strength, you think you are above anything? What a joke." With a grab at the air, a large blade appeared in the dragon demon's hand. With a sweep of the large blade, it directly blocked Long Fei's dark dragon god chop. It was easily blocked. What a powerful stroke. Chapter 1069 Sky Tyrant Dragon Blood. Chapter 1069 Sky Tyrant Dragon Blood Demonic Dragon. The dragon ancestor whose dragon race had fallen to the Devil Dao. They possessed incomparable power. Their hearts were eaten away by magic. Back then, they were suppressed here by the Yuan Long, and after more than 6 million years of being in the seal, they became the people who guarded his tombs. In these 6 million years, their anger and resentment had accumulated to the point of almost exploding. The dragon demon blocked Long Fei's dark dragon's stomp with 1 move. An incomparably powerful existence. Long Fei felt the strong power of the dragon demon's body, his arm went numb, as if his entire arm was about to be dislocated. "Kid! Arrogant in front of me? Temph, this is what happens to you," Dragon Demon said with contempt. He stared at Long Fei as if he was staring at an ant, completely not putting him in his eyes. Despicable. More than 6 million years of accumulated anger and resentment would only make him stronger. Long Fei took a heavy step back. Seeing the incomparably huge dragon demon, and the 3 surrounding dragon demons from the other 3 corners, Long Fei curled his lips and said, "You're being arrogant with me?" The dragon demon sneered and said, "You are just an ant. If I want you to live, you will live. If I want you to die, you will die. Motherf asterisk ka. If you dare be so arrogant with my boss, I'll kill you." Li Yuanba roared. He picked up the giant spirit axe and was about to charge forward. Long Fei instantly shouted, "Yuan Ba, come back here." Li Yuanba stopped and scratched his head. "Boss, this guy is too arrogant. I can't stand to see people acting so arrogantly in front of you. Give me a minute, I will definitely kill him." A minute. In terms of strength, Li Yuanba was never afraid of anyone. However, not only is the dragon demon extremely powerful, but he also possesses the power of the dragon race. Long Fei laughed, "You don't need to do it. Hey. You 4 dragon demons are very powerful, aren't you? Long Fei laughed, looking at the 4 dragons surrounding them. The leading dragon demon disdainfully said, "The word powerful is not enough to describe our strength. In this world, we are kings." Rub. What an arrogant tone. Long Fei said, "Then I'll let you all see what the king's world is like. Black dragon ancestor, come out. Green dragon ancestor, come out. Sea dragon king, come out." All 46 dragon patriarchs rushed out of Long Fei's body with incomparable savagery. The draconic beast was stupefied. The 4 dragon demons were completely stupefied. They never thought that Long Fei would be able to summon so many dragon ancestors, each more savage than the last, and even pretentiously call them kings. Now, they were simply idiots. Long Fei laughed. "Who is the king now?" The dragon demon stared at Long Fei. "Didn't you say you are the reincarnation of a Yuan Long? If you weren't the reincarnation of Yuan Long, how would you be able to awaken these dragon ancestral spirits?" "You are a liar." Long Fei's small hand moved slightly, and said coldly, "Kill, trample them to death. Acting tough with your father? This is the result." If it was possible to not make a move, then Long Fei did not want to make a move. Ah. Stop fighting, I was wrong. You are the king. Ah. Terrible screams rang unceasingly, and in the short span of half a minute, a dragon demon was ravaged to death. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 killing dragon demon 4 obtaining 20,000 experience, 100,000 power of celestial points, and 1 energy values point. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 obtaining mighty heavenly tyrant dragon power x1 ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 subdued dragon demon. The dragon demon has returned to its position. The 4th level of the 18th level of hell flashed with light. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 gaining 100,000 experience points when opening the 4th level of the 18th level of hell. The power of celestial is worth 10,000 points while the points are worth 10,000 points. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 getting 20,000 experience points for slaying dragon demon, 100,000 points for killing power of celestial, 1 ability point. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 obtaining sky upholding Tyrannosaurus dragon strength, 2. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 defeating dragon demon. The 5th level of the 18th level of hell has been opened. The system kept beeping. 4 draconic demons, 4 levels of hell. The strength of 4 sky upholding Tyrannosaurus dragons. In just a few minutes, all of them were put back into place. 4 dragon demons overseeing the 18 levels of hell. The instant they entered the 18 levels of hell, they felt that they were not dead yet. When they simultaneously discovered that the owner of this hell was Long Fei, their hearts shook, and they no longer dared to act arrogantly. All of them knelt down on one knee. "Boss," Long Fei said, "cultivate obediently, you will have to come up later." At this moment, Long Fei looked at the 4 lines of power of the Sky Tyrant Dragon, 4 drops of blood essence, and was slightly excited in his heart, because this was something from the 3rd floor of the Open Dragon Domain's heart. Huff. Long Fei let out a heavy breath, and said, "Fusion." The 4 drops of blood essence began to fuse together. A few seconds later. Ding. System notification. The fusion was unsuccessful, blood essence is lacking. Heh. Long Fei was startled, and thought, how could 4 drops of blood essence be insufficient to fuse with the Sky Tyrant Dragon's blood essence? Don't tell me you also need the Tyrannical Dragon's blood essence. Holy sh**. Where do you think I should go find the Tyrant WRM's blood essence? Long Fei was puzzled. The heart of the Dragon Domain was a very important thing. He was one of the essential items of the Open Dragon Domain. If he could not open it all, he would definitely not be able to open it. Sky Tyrant Dragon? He had never heard of this kind of dragon before. If he could find 4 drops of Tyrannical Dragon blood essence, that would already be a blessing from the heavens, but it wasn't enough. Long Fei's idea sunk and asked, where did the Sky Tyrant Dragon blood essence come from? Dragon Demon at the 4th level immediately replied, reporting to boss, all 4 of us possess the blood vein of the Sky Tyrant Dragon ancestor, but none of us are pure. Other than the four of you, are there any other dragon race members who possess a sky tyrant dragon blood vein? Long Fei asked again. The dragon demon shook his head. I don't think so. It's extremely easy for people who have this kind of blood vein to fall into the demonic Tao, with the dragon race entering the god's martial continent from the divinity. It seems like only the four of us have a sky tyrant dragon blood vein. More than that. There's one more, but he seems to be dead. Another dragon said. F***CK. Then, will my dragon domain's heart not open? Long Fei's heart sank. Tyrannosaurus Rex. Do dragons still have Tyrannosaurus Rex? Suddenly, a familiar face appeared in Long Fei's mind. Grandpa. Crazy Long. He activated the dragon blood vein in his body and evolved into a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Could it be that he possessed the fifth heavenly tyrant dragon blood in his body? This was the only possibility. Long Fei tightly clenched his fists. He felt even more that the secrets of the dragon clan and Long family were about to be unraveled. He had to return to the Nantian region as soon as possible. And then, Long Fei looked at the coffin in front of him and laughed. Now is the time to fuse with the Yuan Long's tail. Chapter 1070 Yuan Long Holy Body. Chapter 1070 Yuan Long Holy Body. Long Fei walked in front of the coffin. At this moment, in Long Fei's sea of consciousness, the dragon's head was trembling slightly. As long as no accidents happened, Long Fei could be considered to have the true body of a Yuan Long after fusing with his dragon tail, and the remaining claws were buried in the dragon domain. Yuan Long had wanted to possess Long Fei's body. However, who would have thought that this Long Fei was actually not the Long Fei in his great prophecy technique? Not only did he fail to possess another body, he had even become a part of Long Fei. During this period of time, he had been suppressing the power of the dragon head, so even if Long Fei used it, he wouldn't be able to bring out any power of Yuan Long. Opening the white sarcophagus, a huge, lifelike dragon tail was placed there. Long Fei did not rush to fuse with it. Instead, the idea entered his sea of consciousness and asked Yuan Long head, Yuan Long, do you still want to resist? The dragon's head floated above his consciousness, and its voice carried anger. Long Fei, everything that you possess is mine, and all of them are mine. Oh. Since it's yours, then take them all away now. See if they listen to you or not. Long Fei was filled with confidence. Fusing with the dragon tail was crucial. At this critical moment, Long Fei could not afford to make any mistakes. At this time, the best way was to ruthlessly attack the power of Yuan Long that was hidden in his body. While they were talking, Long Fei moved and shouted to the 46 dragon heads, "Who is your boss?" "You." Everyone said in unison. Long Fei said, "What's my name?" All the dragons shouted, "Long Fei." Long Fei smiled and said, "Yuan Long, did you hear that? Your time has passed and now is the time that I control. You have already lost." The Yuan Long was unconvinced, and said, "Long Fei, don't be complacent, so what if you become the Dragon Clan's leader? Can you lead the dragon race to escape this tribulation? You will die too." Long Fei laughed. "This is the biggest difference between you and me. Why would we avoid disaster? A calamity had arrived. This father wants to take care of him. Hide. I never thought of it." The Yuan Long's heart trembled. At this moment, Long Fei suddenly grabbed onto the dragon's tail, causing the idea to move, merge, swallow, buzz, buzz. The power in his heart burst out, releasing a powerful rumbling sound, and the devouring vein also started to surge. In that instant, Long Fei sat cross-legged and crazily combined the power of his dragon tail. In the past, he had to rely on the dragon elder to help him devour it. Now, with the devouring vein, Long Fei did not need any external force to completely devour the power of the dragon's tail. Strands of power flowed into his body and into his sea of consciousness. In his subconscious, the Yuan Long continued to roar, my strength, this is my strength." However, he completely ignored them. The Yuan Long was like a pitiful worm. An hour passed. 2 hours passed. The third hour. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully fusing with Yuan Longtail. Once the system beep fell, Long Fei's eyes slightly opened. In his sea of consciousness, the dragon head, dragon god, dragon tail, these three major parts, Long Fei moved his idea, fusion with the Yuan Long's body, and then the power in his sea of consciousness began to surge. Just like a gigantic machine colliding with each other, a rumbling sound could be heard. The connection between the dragon head and the dragon body was completed. Rumble. The connection between the dragon's tail and the dragon's body was completed. This process only took 3 seconds and the fusion of the Yuan Long's body was successful. The system immediately sounded out a prompt. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100,000 experience points for fusing with Yuan Long's body. Power of Celestial X 10,000 points. The reward is 10,000 points. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the Immortal stage level 7. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. Boom, boom, boom. His entire body was filled with a powerful energy, the power of dragons. He felt that his body was as strong as a dragon, and he became excited about it. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully fusing with Yuan Long's physique and obtaining Yuan Long's sacred body. His physique and level increase have reached level 10. Item, Yuan Long Sacred Body Level, 15 Saint Realm Description. Yuan Long Sacred Body does not have a rotten body. It is immortal and can withstand the impact of the power of the ancient code. It can withstand the attacks of peak flying immortal powerhouse. Looking at the system's description, Long Fei laughed like a blossoming flower. Ha ha ha. Ancestor, ancestor, can you feel it? My physical body has reached the realm of the Yuan Long's sacred body. Can I enter the chaos realm now? Yuan Long's sacred body's defense was heaven-defying. However, did not want to see a strong defense. The strongest defense in the world is attack. Only the strongest attack could put oneself in an undefeatable and undying place. Long Fei was excited, not because of the fusion of the Yuan Long's sacred body, but because he could endure the flow of the ancient code. This was the reason why Long Fei was so happy. The Yang Huang ancestor was a little confused. To be exact, he was completely dumbfounded. He never thought that Long Fei could create such a powerful body in such a short amount of time. Yuan Long sacred body, able to withstand the crushing power of law. This. Even the Yang Huang ancestor was a little jealous. This kind of physique was something that not even the supreme powerhouse in Chaos Realm possessed. Long Fei's Yuan Long holy body was definitely the only one. What kind of existence was the Yuan Long? Divinity, Dragon Clan intellectual brain. How strong was his body? After fusing with the body of the Yuan Long and obtaining the body of the Yuan Long, the power of the law of the ordinary plane was simply unable to suppress Long Fei's body. Yang Huang ancestor said, "Kid, I did promise you that when you have a strong physical body, I will bring you into the Chaos Realm, but you have to think carefully. Once you enter, you might not be able to come back. You could have died in there." Yang Huang ancestor was not joking. Chaos Realm was not God's martial continent. Those people that Long Fei saw were all people with extraordinary strength. Going in was courting death. Long Fei said, "Ancestor, I do not have any more time, I have to take the risk. Do you know how many people are watching me? How many people are staring at the Dragon Domain's secret treasure? If I don't become strong, I won't be strong enough to crush everything in God's martial continent. I will die, Long family will be destroyed, and all my brothers and women around me will die. I don't want to see this. Old man, bring me in. I'll definitely come back." 5 billion HP was simply too much. Jiyu Tongtian stood there and allowed him to attack. He would also need to stand there for a few hours before he could attack and kill. However, Jiyu Tongtian was only one of the flying fairyland. Western Devil Lord, Heaven, and the rest. Long Fei simply had no way to deal with it. He had to obtain even more powerful strength to be able to stand above the gods' martial continent. Only the power of an alien, the power of the Chaos Realm. Yang Huang ancestor said solemnly, "I'll ask you again, have you thought about it clearly? Long Fei nodded his head heavily, and said, Ancestor, come, let me experience the Chaos Realm's boss. Chapter 1071, Slit. This is too fierce, isn't it? Chapter 1071, Slit. This is too fierce, isn't it? You must follow. Boss, wherever you go, we'll go. This time, we definitely won't leave you behind. Yes. Boss, it's not like we haven't been to the other side of the portal. Just take us along with you. If you don't bring us along, we'll go by ourselves. The four great King Kong slashes said with absolute iron. Long Fei was also not an unreasonable person. He was clear about the strength of the four great Vajra, and said, all right, let's go together then. Tian Xing immediately asked, what about me? What should I do? Long Fei, you won't leave me here alone, right? Long Fei said, you just stand guard here, wait for us to come out. Although the Tian clan has been destroyed, I'm worried that there might still be some of his remaining forces. You must be careful. Finished. Long Fei walked in front of Tian Xing. Without waiting for her to say anything, he kissed her lips in an instant, and then said softly, be good, I will definitely come back. Tian Xing's cheeks reddened, and she immediately turned into an obedient, smiling woman. She lightly nodded and said, I'll wait for you. No matter how long it takes, I'll wait for you to come back. Long Fei looked at her, and slowly turned, and holding his breath, he walked towards the portal. The four King Kong followed closely behind him. Actually, there was still King Kong, Arhat King Kong in Long Fei's body. He had already finished condensing and Long Fei did not release him. In his heart, he had a nagging feeling that this Arhat King Kong was not simple and had not been released since. Buzz. Long Fei stepped into the portal. Yang Huang Ancestor's voice immediately resounded, and said, Long Fei, hold your mind, and remain calm. No matter what illusions appear, do not panic when encountering anything. Release your Yuan Long sacred body. Long Fei said in his heart, okay. And then, Long Fei said to the four Vajra, follow behind me and follow me wherever I go. You must not take the wrong path, understand? Understood. The four of them shouted in unison. This was no joke. The slightest carelessness would cause one to be crushed by the law of confusion, and one had to carefully take every step. This was the link between the two planes. It was also the most chaotic and dangerous place. However, there must be a safe passage in this law turbulence, otherwise, those evolved people would not be able to pass through it. What Yang Huang Ancestor had to do now was to achieve this safe passage. On the other side, purple light lingered in a special valley. All of them were purple light bosses. When Long Fei saw them, he immediately became excited. He's here. Yang Huang Ancestor roared out in anger, Long Fei, the collision of the laws, you have withstood it. Long Fei's mind sank, and released all of the power of the Yuan Long holy body. An image of a Yuan Long superimposed on his body, and he excitedly shouted, come, rumble, rumble. The golden light of the ancient code heavily smashed into Long Fei's body. Long Fei's body sank and directly withstood the impact of the ancient code's turbulence, completely offsetting its impact power. Abnormal. The Yang Huang Ancestor began to worry. This was a chaotic law after all, so this kind of attack was extremely fatal. Long Fei didn't even lose a single strand of hair. This body was so strong that it made people jealous and envious. Long Fei was extremely excited as he said, Ancestor, my physique must be strong enough. Yang Huang Ancestor poured a bucket of cold water over him and said, don't get cocky too early. Just now, that turbulence was only a chaotic flow of laws in the god's martial continent's plane. You'll be able to withstand it later when you encounter the chaotic flow of laws in the Chaos Realm, so we'll talk about it later. Level 15 Body. The defense of the Yuan Long S was abnormally strong. It was strong enough to withstand the impact of the law of confusion. However, in the Chaos Realm, it was not invincible. The level was too low. No matter how strong the body was, it was useless. A single idea could break your spiritual sea, no matter how strong your physical body was. Chaos Realm wanted to cultivate both internally and externally. Long Fei grinned and said, The Chaos Realm is your territory. You won't let me fall into a death trap, right? The Yang Huang ancestor disdainfully said, "It's been so many years since I last met the Chaos Realm. I don't even know how the current Chaos Realm has changed." They slowly moved through the spatial rifts. He was getting closer and closer to the special space in front of him. Long Fei became more and more excited. "If I were to be able to kill these purple light bosses, I can definitely go to the heavens. Hey. Be careful. We've reached the boundary," Yang Huang ancestor warned. Long Fei asked, "What is the boundary?" Yang Huang ancestor said, "It is the point at the center of the link between the two great planes. 1 centimeter ahead is the plane of Chaos Realm. We have to be careful of this place. It's the most dangerous place." Long Fei replied, "With you here, I don't have to worry." There was nothing around him except for the continuous flashes of light that passed by him, making him appear as if he was in a spacetime tunnel. Boom! Suddenly, a loud sound rang out in the air. Yang Huang ancestor's heart sank. He shouted loudly, "Careful, domain beast." Without waiting for Long Fei to react, a domain beast rushed out, opened its mouth wide and directly swallowed Long Fei. Its huge mouth had a strong suction force. Dragon Spear. Long Fei moved his right hand, burning heaven. The dragon spear shook. Long Fei moved his idea, causing the value of the power of Celestial to drop rapidly. The moment the domain beast swallowed them, his dragon spear moved, transforming into a powerful force. The Yuan Long has no god. The power of absolute death. Domain beast. A beast that devoured space. In Transu Empire, Long Fei had even seen it before, and it was a complete mess. It was also one of the ferocious beasts that Long Fei wanted to explode the most. However, Long Fei then stabbed his spear into the domain beast's throat, causing a red number to float out from the top of its head. The Yuan Long had no spirit. If the power of instant kill were to erupt, even the flying fairyland's powerhouse would be able to instantly kill it. However, it had only created a single point of damage. How strong was this domain beast? It was hard to imagine. And also at that moment, with Li Yuanbar's golden armor on him, the giant spirit axe in his hand slashed down, striking the top of the domain beast's head. Rumble. Is Li Yuanbar powerful? Holy King Kong had innate divine strength, and truly had divine strength. However, Long Fei was dumbstruck. He could not help but blurt out, "Damn, isn't this too fierce? It's so powerful. I'll do it." With a move of the Spirit of Heaven, the power of the Dost and the Holy Spirit's power were perfectly merged, and the Holy Spirit's power was released. The power of the Yuling Guardian Warrior exploded outwards. However, with this move, the numbers that floated above the domain beast's head were still MIS. Lin Yusheng and Ahat also attacked once. It was the same thing. Their attacks were completely useless. The domain beast's eyes revealed a look of disdain. Its face was full of pride, which made people extremely unhappy. Being looked down upon by the domain beast. Long Fei and the others couldn't do anything. Chapter 1072 Beeman Beasts. Chapter 1072 Beeman Beasts. Woo woo woo. The domain beast let out a wild laugh, its eyes full of teasing, as though it was saying, "Come, come, King came to hit me." He had a despicable look on his face. Long Fei's anger was about to rise. "Ancestor, is there no way to deal with it?" Long Fei shouted, "If even one demon beast is smug in front of me, I don't believe I can't kill you." Royal Elder. Yang Huang ancestor did not speak, he was extremely focused. Even though Long Fei shouted, he did not reply. F***CK. I don't believe it. Long Fei's heart was moved, a powerful force surging into it. At this moment, just as Long Fei was about to attack, Yang Huang ancestor suddenly shouted, "Careful." Amidst the chaotic spacetime turbulence, an even stronger beast suddenly rushed out like it was cutting through the sky. Without waiting for the domain beast to react, it swallowed it in one gulp. The whole time was less than 1/10 of a second. The incomparably huge domain beast was the size of an ant in front of that fierce beast. Just like the sky and the earth. Long Fei looked up, That one of mine is still wiping, I can't even see its entire body. Li Yuanbar said, Boss, what is this fellow? How would I know? Long Fei was about to go crazy. Everything that had just happened had made his scalp go numb. He thought that the domain beast was very strong. After all, it was a super ferocious beast that could devour space and dimensions. However, in that moment, it was devoured like a small shrimp. That kind of scene had a huge impact on Long Fei's heart. It was too hard to imagine, and too big to bear. Too strong. Long Fei could not help but say. It was also at this time. A system notification rang out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Domain Beast 4, obtaining 3 billion experience, obtaining 1 million power of celestial and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Domain Beast S. Do you wish to fuse them? Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the Domain Beast Core. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Domain Beast's Bone. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently level 8 Immortal. Ding. The Domain Beast was absorbed by the player Devouring Vein, causing it to level up 2 levels consecutively. The current blood vein is level 4. When the 2 blood essence particles fell from his consciousness, the power within Long Fei's blood vein began to boil, and its immense power was activated from the blood. Long Fei was a little confused. Just because he caused some damage, he managed to obtain all of this Domain Beast. Long Fei was extremely excited. Fuck, 3 billion experience points directly raised by 1 level, how powerful is that? The Domain Beast directly caused my Devouring Vein to level up 2 levels consecutively. This guy. Long Fei's little heart could not take it anymore. It was too difficult to level up Devouring Vein. The ancient blood vein that he had swallowed was also only raised by 1 level, but the Domain Beast had directly raised it by 2 levels. The power in his blood became stronger and stronger. At this moment, Li Yuanbar muttered, Boss, it seems to be staring at us. Long Fei also had a feeling that he was being stared at. This feeling was very uncomfortable and he could not move. He slightly raised his eyes and looked towards the sky, only seeing 2 huge suns in the sky. Was this the eye of the ferocious beast in front of him? Her eyes were staring straight at Long Fei, as though Long Fei had gotten what he wanted. At this moment, Long Fei felt like he had been seen through. Even the hidden system in his body had been seen through. This feeling made him want to die. How much experience would I get if I dropped it? Long Fei was like a madman, thinking of these things in his mind. Gudong. Let's give it a try. Who cares if it was 32 or 28, Long Fei would definitely not let go of this opportunity. Killing a Domain Beast can level up, but killing that guy has to level up consecutively. Fight. Long Fei roared, the sky-burning dragon gun in his hand suddenly moved, pointing at the pair of huge eyes in the sky. He shouted, Watch your sister. With a single step, he leaped up. However, he had only jumped half a meter before he was pushed down by a pinky. He pressed his body to the ground, completely unable to move. Boss. Li Yuanbar roared, he moved his feet and chopped down with his axe. Wang. He was also pressed down by a finger, and his strength was instantly dispersed. They were like people from a small country, and the ferocious beast in front of them was a giant. The Yang Huang ancestor said, This is a beeman large monster, its level is 10,000 times stronger than a Domain Beast, you all aren't even qualified to fill the gaps in his teeth, if not, you would have already been turned into dust. Ancestor, don't talk rubbish. Is there any way to deal with him? I want to kill him. Long Fei said. He really wanted to kill it. How much experience? This couldn't be calculated in billions, but in megabytes instead. What kind of super soul treasure could drop? I guess we'll have to pull it by train, won't we? Of course. This was not what Long Fei wanted the most. What he wanted in his heart was, if this guy could become his war pet, then it was definitely the tempo of the heavens. Yang Huang ancestor replied, There's no other way, unless we use the super law turbulence to attack it, no one can kill it here. Brat, I advise you not to struggle because this guy will not hate dead people. It's best if you faked your death. Only by doing this can you escape death. Yang Huang ancestor said seriously. Beam large monster were incomparably strong. He had only seen it in the secret scriptures of the Chaos Realm, and had never actually seen it before. Pretend to be dead. That's not my Long Fei's style. Against such a super boss, how could he possibly feign death? Long Fei really couldn't do it. And then, Long Fei opened up the system, and quickly checked. What can we do? What can we do to get him? Or kill it? Long Fei's strongest attack on Domain Beast could only create 1 point of damage, but against Beam large monster that was 10,000 times stronger than Domain Beast, his strength was not even comparable to an ant. You want to kill it? It was even more unbelievable than fantasy. It was impossible to blow it up. If he couldn't destroy it, then he could only subdue him and turn him into a war pet. How to do it? Long Fei quickly asked, Ancestor, does this guy have any weaknesses? Yang Huang ancestor replied, to you, he has no weakness. Powerhouse has no weakness to the weak. F***CK. Can you be more serious? Long Fei ruthlessly said with contempt. The Yang Huang ancestor pondered for a moment and said, the secret manual recorded that the Beam large monster's intelligence is low. Even if it is an adult Beam large monster, their intelligence is only that of a 3 or 5-year-old child. Low intelligence. Then his brain. In that instant, Long Fei opened the system. Seeing the almost forgotten skill light of enticement, he became excited. Chapter 1073 Long Fei's Choice. Chapter 1073 Long Fei's Choice. The light of temptation has rarely been used. However, its level was not low, and it had already reached the 6th level. This skill was a brainwashing technique. It could control the central nervous system and increase the intelligence of Demon Beast by 50%. Huff. Long Fei let out a light breath. Yang Huang ancestor said, Brat, are you crazy? The strength of the Beam large monster is indeed low, but it hates people who want to control it the most. Once it gets angry, even if the 5 of you pretend to be dead, you will still be crushed into powder. Just do as I say. Play dead. Didn't you want to go to the Chaos Realm to find an even stronger power? Do you really want to die here? Yang Huang ancestor was anxious. Long Fei was a madman. For a good thing, just a glance at it would cause him to be unable to move his legs. In the past, there was still room for retreat, but now, this was the boundary, an extremely dangerous place where anything could happen. He wants to control the Beam large monster. This was the tempo of going to see the King of Hell. Long Fei said, I don't care anymore, as long as this guy can become my war pet, what God's martial continent, what palace question of God, what chaos realm, I will sweep him away. Yang Huang ancestor. He was speechless. You madman. Long Fei grinned excitedly, and said, Ancestor, it's not like you only found out today that I, Long Fei, was a madman. Ha ha ha. And then, Long Fei was startled, his heart was also thumping hard. No matter what, he would take a step forward and roared loudly, light of enticement. A skill was released. The electric net, the color of Xuanar Bai's skin, expanded outwards from the pinky on Long Fei's body. It was densely packed and it covered the entire Beam large monster in just half a minute. Crackle, crackle, crackle. Long Fei immediately said, Become my war pet. I will give you a completely different world. I will let. Not waiting for him to finish. A powerful force exploded in the Beam large monster's sea of consciousness. Get out, get out. He covered his head with his hands and went crazy. Yang Huang ancestor's heart skipped a beat. It's over, we're completely finished. Long Fei did not give up, and said, I, Long Fei, promise you, I will definitely bring you a different kind of brilliance, and let you break through this void. Get out. The Beam large monster's eyes were bloodshot, the power released from its body became extremely violent, its murderous intent had never been this strong. It was exactly as Yang Huang ancestor had said. He hated people trying to control his brain. The power of the electric net continued to drop. Within a few minutes, the light of enticement was still on cooldown, making it impossible for Long Fei to cast it again. Moreover, the beam-enlarged monster would not give Long Fei the chance to release the light of enticement a second time. He was furious. The result of his anger was murder. Both of his eyes were like bloody fireballs as he stared at Long Fei and the other three, roaring out loudly, "I want you all to die." Long Fei did not give up on controlling his brain. Long Fei would not give up even at the last moment. The word give up did not exist in his dictionary. He was still trying to persuade her, trying to control the brain of the beeman. Suddenly, in the blink of an eye, a huge vortex appeared at the boundary. The Yang Huang ancestor suddenly shouted, "Long Fei, the chance is here. The super law turbulence has appeared, it can send the beam-enlarged monster flying. This is your only chance." The beam-enlarged monster was also startled. In this chaotic space, the super law turbulence was the only thing he was afraid of. More importantly, in the depths of his memories, his father had died under the onslaught of this kind of super law turbulence. To save him, this was an excellent opportunity. Li Yuanba and the others looked at Long Fei. As long as Long Fei dodged and allowed the super law turbulence to crash into the beam-enlarged monster, they would be fine. At the critical moment, Long Fei looked at the four of them and smiled. "If I die, you four can leave by yourselves." As soon as he finished, Long Fei suddenly roared, "Level 10 Wu Shuang, open." Buzz. 1024-fold elemental energy exploded. Long Fei's idea entered his sea of consciousness and completely released the defensive energy from his fused Yuan Long body. 8 golden dragons protecting his body. The other 38 dragon patriarchs also uniformly rushed into every part of Long Fei's body. At this moment, Long Fei resisted with all of his defensive power, as if he was a supergiant, heavily blocking in front of the beam-enlarged monster. He looked at the beam-enlarged monster excitedly and said, "As long as you become my brother, I will defend you with my life, block everything." Under these circumstances, Long Fei couldn't use his Zhonghuaye gold body to block it, otherwise the spatial turbulence would still rush through his body. He could only use his physical body to carry it. Yang Huang ancestor was dumbfounded. I really can't do anything to you, I really can't see through you. Ha ha ha. Since you want to go crazy, then I can only go crazy with you. Yang Huang ancestor laughed out wildly and said, "I'll let you experience the power my complete primordial spirit can release." Buzz. A wave of energy exploded out from the depths of the pubes, forming a defensive shield that wrapped Long Fei inside. The law of chaos rushes forth. Boom. Rumble. An earth-shattering explosion sounded within Long Fei's mind. With the protection of millions of energies, Long Fei's body was still trembling uncontrollably. The impact of super law turbulence was just too strong. 1 second. 2 seconds. A full 10 seconds passed. The Yang Huang ancestor's defensive air shield cracked and he was still releasing all of his power with all his might, releasing all of the power in his body. He was the first line of defense. Long Fei said, "Ancestor, quickly withdraw your power." Yang Huang ancestor said excitedly, "Brat, let me be crazy for you again, I can still hold on for 5 more seconds." At this time, 5 seconds was longer than 5 years. For the sake of Yang Huang ancestor, he was willing to give it his all. Catcher. Boom. In exactly 15 seconds, the power of the Yang Huang ancestor had shattered and he had disappeared along with his aura. He was simply too weak, like a wick that was about to be extinguished. Patriarch. Long Fei bellowed as both of his feet rooted onto the ground. He firmly stuck into it, roared, and said, "Come. Rumble. Rumble." An extremely strong force struck Long Fei's body. The value of the power of Celestial was like a flood, surging crazily and decreasing rapidly. All of the defensive strength required the value of the power of Celestial to endure. Boom. The defense of the 8 golden dragons collapsed. Boom. The defensive power of the 38 dragon patriarchs collapsed. Boom. Long Fei's own defense from the Yuan Long holy body had collapsed. He couldn't hold on any longer. At this moment, the beam-enlarged monster froze on the spot and muttered, "Daddy." Chapter 1074 Lousy is Sending. Chapter 1074 Lousy is Sending Father. The beam-enlarged monster watched as Long Fei blocked everything for him, as if he was looking at his own father. Just at the edge of Long Fei's collapse, the beam-enlarged monster suddenly moved, hugging Long Fei. It turned its body and used its back to firmly block the remaining super law turbulence, protecting Long Fei tightly in his arms. Once. That was how his father protected him. Boom. 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 The super law turbulence was still continuously attacking, but the beam-enlarged monster's body was extremely firm. It did not move an inch and protected Long Fei. 5 minutes passed. The power of the super law turbulence finally weakened and disappeared, completely neutralized. At this time, the back of the beam-enlarged monster was a mess of blood and flesh, and the wound was deep enough to see through his bones. However, he did not frown at all as he protected Long Fei with all his might. It was also at this time. Long Fei's idea still remained in his mind. His voice rang out, "I agree." The system sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully summoning beam-enlarged monster. You have received 100,000 experience points, 10,000 power of celestial points, and 10,000 points as a special reward. Long Fei was incomparably weak. However, when he heard the name system beep, his entire being started boiling. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he looked at the words written on top of the beam-enlarged monster's head. He laughed and muttered, "Thank you. If not for the beam-enlarged monster protecting him, Long Fei would have been reduced to dust by now, and be annihilated in both body and spirit." The beam-enlarged monster looked at Long Fei and said, "It's me who needs to thank you." He had never thought that in this world, other than his parents, there would be people who would protect him like this. His intelligence was not high, but he was willing to die for the sake of protecting his family. No matter what this person's goal was, he was willing to do anything for him. This is the Beeman race. From Long Fei's body, he saw his own father protecting him with his life. If he had become a little stronger at that time, he would have shared the damage his father suffered, and his father wouldn't have died. In that moment just now, he rushed forward without caring about anything else, and only wanted to avoid seeing Long Fei die, for him. "Boss, are you alright?" Li Yuanba rushed forward. Seeing the incomparably weak Long Fei in the beam-enlarged monster's embrace, Yuan Ba tightly clenched his fists, feeling very uncomfortable in his heart. The same went for the hearts of the 4 great King Kong. Long Fei said slightly, "I'm fine, don't worry." At the same time, Long Fei moved into the depths of the pubes and said, "Ancestor, ancestor." Yang Huang ancestor coughed a few times and said, "This old bone of mine won't die yet." "Brat, I didn't think that you would really be able to do it. No one has ever succeeded. You are the only one. Furthermore, I can see that this beam-enlarged monster is truly willing to follow you. Even if you don't control his brain, he will definitely follow you. Once the Beeman tribe recognizes their master, they will never change it." But Yang Huang ancestor was silent for a moment. Long Fei asked, "Ancestor, what is it?" Yang Huang ancestor chuckled, "Nothing, do what you want." Actually, Beam-enlarged monster Long Fei could only choose to bring people to Chaos Realm or God's Martial Continent, and could only make one choice. If the choice was Chaos Realm, then the Beam-enlarged monster could only stay in Chaos Realm, and could not enter it. Because, once he left the primordial chaos, he would be stuck at that plane. To compete with the God's Martial Continent, the current Long Fei needed even more powerful strength. The Beam-enlarged monster was the best helper. Thus, the Yang Huang ancestor didn't say it because he was worried that Long Fei would choose to enter the God's Martial Continent. If that happened, he would be in danger in the Chaos Realm. Long Fei felt that the Yang Huang ancestor was hiding something from him. However, he was currently very excited, and very soon, he did not think about this matter anymore. "Rest for a moment." Long Fei recovered some spirit energy and asked, "Beeman, are your injuries all right?" With just a few words of concern, the Beeman was incomparably excited. In the flow of time and space, he had wandered for tens of thousands of years by himself, like an orphan who had been abandoned. Suddenly, someone cared for him, and he was as happy as a child. He shook his head and said, I'm fine. His injuries were not light. It was at least heavier than Long Fei. The power of the super law turbulence was too strong, and Long Fei could not block it no matter what he tried. Long Fei said, then are you willing to enter the Chaos Realm with me? Without any hesitation, the Beeman large monster nodded and said, I am willing. Actually, this was an important choice for the Beeman large monster because a plane would decide their entire life. Long Fei did not know. Long Fei laughed, alright, then follow me to cause a ruckus in Chaos Realm ha ha ha. As soon as he finished, the Beeman large monster immediately opened up a path. Long Fei and the 4 great King Kong pulled back. He walked towards the group of purple light bosses. They had already entered the Chaos Realm space and time, so the impact of the power of law was much stronger. However, as long as it was not the super law turbulence, the Beeman large monster was not afraid at all and helped Long Fei and the others to block it all. They were now rushing straight for Chaos Realm. Chaos Realm, on the other side of the transmission gate. Space-time turbulence. That's not right. That's not right. That's completely wrong. It's impossible for there to be such a strange spatial turbulence. A purple-robed middle-aged man shook his head as he spoke. Could it be that someone from the gods' martial continent entered this place alone? That's even more impossible. Without our guidance, even if they were given 10,000 lives, they would still be able to rest here. If there was even the slightest bit of carelessness within the laws of space and time, they would still be unable to return. However, things have been going on constantly recently. I'm worried. The expression of the purple-robed man changed slightly. Another person said, are you worried that heaven will betray us, and that he will capture Long Fei and not hand him over the Dragon Domain's secret treasure? Secret treasure of the Dragon Domain. A secret treasure of the divinity. As long as we obtain it, we, the Tian clan, will have a place to stay in the Chaos Realm. The purple-robed man couldn't help but clench his fists. They knew more about Dragon Domain secret treasures than Jiyu Tongtian. As long as he could get the secret treasure of Long Clan, perhaps, he would be able to control the passage to the divinity, and that way, he might even be able to control the entire Chaos Realm. People are ambitious. Since it was ambition, why not the greatest ambition? In the Chaos Realm, the Tian family was nothing at all. However, as long as they could get their hands on the Dragon Domain's secret treasures, they could soar into the sky. For this, they didn't hesitate to take the risk. Suddenly, the transmission gate began to distort. The purple-robed man instantly became nervous and said, something is about to come out. A loud sound echoed out. Long Fei was the first to walk out. Looking at the purple light that covered the entire place, the corners of his mouth curled up as he said excitedly, this daddy is going to make his move. Chapter 1075 Beeman, kill him for me. Chapter 1075 Beeman, kill him for me. Who had never seen a boss in a game before? A boss wasn't anything special. However, have you ever seen a screen full of bosses? Piles of bosses together, have you ever seen one? Long Fei had never seen it before, but now he had. The moment he stepped out of the transmission gate, everyone in the valley stared at him. At this moment, the entire valley had quieted down, and even a pin drop could be heard. What was going on? He didn't know how to react. Who could penetrate the law of chaos to get here? They were all thinking about it. Long Fei's mind was thinking about something else. Wow, so many bosses. I'm going to attack them now, it's definitely going to happen. There was one thing that Long Fei couldn't understand. Why did it seem like everyone in the valley was a boss? Anyone. Even the most distant and lowest level disciples were surrounded by purple light, a characteristic of a boss. Why is that? However, in the next second, Long Fei did not think too much into it. The more bosses there were, the better. It was actually very simple. Because Long Fei was in the gods' martial continent, his realm was lower than the chaos realms. He saw that any martial practitioner, even if they were commoners, were all purple light boss existences. This was the reason why the planes were so different. Buzz. Li Yuanbar walked out. The purple-robed man's face turned sinister. It's you. Next. Sky Spirit, Ahat, and Lin Yusheng walked out. The purple-robed man's expression changed, and he said faintly, just the four of you aren't enough to break through the law of chaos, and you don't even know about the tunnel that's hidden in it. Li Yuanba stared at the purple-robed man and said, What the F*** K, it's you who muddled this daddy up. You almost killed my boss, this daddy will be irreconcilable with you today. Boom. When the giant spirit coffin landed, Li Yuanba swept his hand across it fiercely, his entire body covered in gold armor and holding onto the giant spirit axe. The purple-robed man was shocked as he said, Your power has become stronger, it has become stronger, and the power of the blood vein in your body has broken through several realms. Not bad. That's right. That way, you can be my container. I was just worried that I wouldn't be able to find the container to enter the gods' martial continent. The purple-robed man sneered and said, Capture the four of them. In addition, the purple-robed man looked at Xiong Longfei and said faintly, You should be the Longfei who prophesied your son, right? Longfei grinned and said, Seems like you're clear about this. The purple-robed man said, I never thought that you would be so young. The people of Long family are really different, they are people who possess divinity's blood vein. This is good too, it saves me a lot of trouble. As long as I can control you, I have the dragon domain in my hands. And then, the purple-robed man laughed sinisterly and said, Capture them all alive. Long Fei's group of 5 stood in place without moving. The moment they charged over, Long Fei moved and summoned his holy artillery. He smiled and said, I will blast you with a cannon first. The release of the immortal crystals. The holy artillery shot out. Rumble. His voice was deafening. However, at this moment, an elder rushed forward and wrapped the energy released by the God King's cannon with a huge force and violently squeezed it. In just a few seconds, the energy of the immortal crystal turned into a small spark and disappeared. Damn! So fierce! Long Fei shouted excitedly. The purple-robed man laughed and said, You actually used the power of the gods' martial continent to attack us? Kid, there are levels for humans, and there are levels for planes as well. Everything in the gods' martial continent is like dogshit in front of us. Do you understand? Long Fei nodded with interest, and said, So that's how it is. The purple-robed man laughed complacently and said, Do you understand now? However. Too late, ha ha ha. Long Fei, just obediently become my puppet. One plane, one technique. One level. The higher the level of a plane, the more powerful its power would be. For attacks from lower planes, even the most powerful divine abilities wouldn't be able to release such power. This was because of the limitations of the power of the laws. Yang Huang ancestor had also said this. Long Fei did not believe it, but he believed it now. However, he was not worried at all. The idea moved and said lightly, Since the power of the gods' martial continent is of no use to you, then let me show you the power of another world. Nox, come out. Galen, bring out your great sword. Boom. Boom. The 2 great holy general came down from the sky, knelt on one knee and said, Greetings, my king. There was still a card in Long Fei's mind, the barbarian king, that had yet to be released. Long Fei slightly said, Kill, they do not belong to the gods' martial continent, they belong to the League of Heroes, so they are not restricted by the plane of existence. His in the tower, Galen roared, he picked up his great sword and rushed out, rushing into the crowd of people. A string of health bars rose above the heads of the purple light bosses. However, the damage was not high. The 2 of them were also instantly surrounded, unable to display their full strength. The purple-robed man still had a proud smile on his face as he said, I always thought you were a very smart person, but now it seems that you were very stupid. Pretty stupid. Do you think just 2 of these people can contend against Chaos Realm? Long Fei, I have to say, your head is full of shit, ha ha ha. The purple-robed man was extremely proud of himself. He could see the Dragon Domain's secret treasure waving at him. He would become the #1 person in Chaos Realm. He couldn't help but laugh out loud in satisfaction. Everything that had happened in the past few years was worth it. He had suffered a lot in order to break through the transmission gate. Now, they were only one step away from success. As long as they could control Long Fei, the dragon domain would be under his control. Divine abilities and techniques. Even the dragon race that controlled the divinity, all of this was possible. The purple-robed man walked towards Xiong Longfei, step by step. All of the disciples in the valley surrounded Long Fei. Long Fei was like a fish on a chopping block. However, in Long Fei's eyes, they were just fish on a chopping block, waiting to be slaughtered. The purple-robed man laughed complacently. Long Fei, surrender. This way you'll be able to experience less pain. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, surrender? Heh heh. The purple-robed man's eyes were filled with contempt as he said, laugh? Seems like you're really overestimating yourself. Long Fei said slightly, I do not know how to judge others' capabilities. I want to let you know what capital you have to overestimate yourself. Beeman. Blast him to death. As soon as he finished. On top of the transmission gate, an incomparably large hand was ruthlessly slapped. Rumble. A loud explosion resounded. The purple-robed man fell to the ground with a thud. His head was split open, and a deep crater was formed on the ground. Instant kill. Chapter 1076, Prepare to Tremble. Chapter 1076, Prepare to Tremble. One move. Instant kill. It was so fast that people could not even react. Their minds were in a warped state. Damn. Can you not be so powerful? Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed excitedly, followed by a system notification sound. Long Fei's heart tensed up. Explode, explode, explode. Ha ha ha. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for slaying purple-robed man for obtaining 0 experience, power of celestial 0, energy values 0. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 10 experience elixir S. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining mysterious item 1. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining mysterious item 2. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining mysterious item 3. The system kept beeping. Hearing these notifications, Long Fei was stunned. Your sister, 0 experience. Impossible. What the F***k*? He could not help but curse. This place was full of bosses. Even if it wasn't a boss, killing a mosquito would require 1 point of experience points, but a boss gave 0 EXP. Long Fei wanted to curse the past 18 generations of the ancestors of the system. Too small. Long Fei moved her body. Take it, experience elixir. Ding. Consumption failed. Failure. System, come out for lousy. If I don't cripple you, then lousy's experience with you can't be consumed. What are you going to do then? Long Fei bellowed. What is a mysterious item? System, damn you. Long Fei looked at the 3 mysterious items. How could these be mysterious items? However, the moment his idea moved, it could not even be activated. He couldn't open it at all. What kind of mysterious item was this? Really? Long Fei was about to get angry. He came here full of excitement, looking at the valley full of purple light bosses. No one could tell how excited he was. He even felt as if he owned the whole world. However, a bucket of cold water was poured over his head, chilling him to the extreme. Cold. It was too hard. Long Fei's eyes were in a trance. He seemed lifeless and powerless as he muttered to himself, that's impossible, how could it be like this? Was it the wrong way for me to open it? Is that really the case? Why did a purple light black mist explode in Chaos Realm, and why did a mysterious item suddenly explode in real face? What the hell is this all about? Long Fei kept scolding. Li Yuanba saw that Long Fei's expression was not right, and asked in a low voice, Boss, what's wrong? Long Fei waved his hand, and said, liver pain, it's so painful, ignore me. His liver was trembling. The beeman scratched its head and muttered, Boss, do I still want to come out? Everything was in a daze. The warriors of the Chaos Realm in the valley also turned around quickly. Looking at the purple-robed man in the deep pit, their faces turned pale. The impact it had on them was simply too great. Long Fei was bored now. As he watched them quickly descend, he did not have any other orders. If the boss didn't drop any items, no experience. If he had the free will, he might as well find a girl to chat about life and talk about dreams. Suddenly, the system beeped once again. Ding. System notification. Player Long Fei has transcended the heavenly tribulation. If the system does not level up, everything that has been exposed in the Chaos Realm will not be activated. Huh. What do you mean can't open it? If it can't be opened in the Chaos Realm, can it be opened in the God's Martial Continent? Long Fei asked. Under normal circumstances, the system would never reply. However, this time, the system responded with some exceptions. Sure. Long Fei was startled. He was also surprised. System, you can still answer that. Then tell me, why can't the Chaos Realm open it? System, the world you live in is the God's Martial Continent. Before you experience the baptism of heavenly tribulation, your cultivation will not be able to break through the shackles of the God's Martial Continent and your system will not be able to level up. Simply put, it's a matter of the plane restrictions. If Long Fei had already endured the baptism of heavenly tribulation, then he would have dropped something, not a experience elixir or a mysterious item that he couldn't consume. This was the Chaos Realm, not the God's Martial Continent. If you want to get something out of here, there's only one way, to become a member of the Chaos Realm. Also, is to bring these worries back to the God's Martial Continent. This way, all of these could be activated. However, these mysterious items would all be restricted by the restrictions of the ancient code and could only open some of the things in the God's Martial Continent. A martial artist was restricted by the laws of the plane. The system was the same. The heavenly tribulation baptism was a breakthrough for Long Fei, but it was also an upgrade for the system. Thinking of this, Long Fei was secretly shocked. System can still be upgraded. What will the system be like after the upgrade? At this moment, Long Fei became incomparably excited. His gaze swept across them as he softly said, since that's the case, then let me get this over and done with. Beeman, come out. Boom. Under Long Fei's orders, the Beeman rushed out from the transmission gate. It was incomparably huge and was over 100 meters tall as it stood in the middle of the valley like a gigantic mountain. Crack. The Beeman moved, its joints popping out as it stared at the valley with its huge eyes and grinned. Boss, are we really going to kill these people? Long Fei asked, is it difficult? The Beeman laughed and said, none at all. As soon as he finished speaking, the Beeman took a step forward and blasted a palm strike at the people in the valley. The valley cracked and shook. The bosses that were emitting purple light looked as if they had seen a ghost, as they scattered in all directions, unable to withstand the huge impact from the Beeman. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei 4 killing descendant of God's tribe for obtaining 0 experience, power of celestial points, 0, energy values, 0. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 5 experience elixir. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining mysterious item 1. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining mysterious item 2. It was the same thing that the violet-robed man had dropped. Experience elixir. It was a mysterious object that could not be opened and used. However, Long Fei was not anxious at all. These things could be used as long as he returned to God's Martial Continent. Kill them all. Kill them all. The Beeman's huge body leaped, giggled, and said, Beeman meet bullet. His body pressed down and the purple light boss was crushed until *T came out, completely without any form of resistance. Ha ha ha. Beeman large monster S are too valiant. Long Fei was extremely excited in his heart. If this guy brought back the God's Martial Continent, who would be his match? Prepare to tremble, Jiyu Tongtian. Chapter 1077, Preparing for War. Chapter 1077, Preparing for War. Palace Question of God. In the Great Hall, gathered peak God's Martial Continent S thinking back to a year ago, of the powerhouse S that Jiyu Tongtian had gathered, from the original 60 to more than 100, the peak powerhouse S had basically been gathered by him. Moreover, Many of these were magic that could break through the shackles of the law. The demon that was once stomped by the Long family. All of their cultivations were flying fairyland. They all had a common point, and their lifespan was almost up. Brother Gu, Long Fei has already disappeared from the savage domain for an entire year. Are you sure he will appear again? Western Devil Lord asked. This was what all the powerhouses wanted to know. If Long Fei did not appear, the dragon domain would not be able to open it. Then it would be a waste of time for them to stay here. That's right. Back then, you promised us that we would be able to obtain the secret art of longevity within the open dragon domain. Otherwise, why would we waste our time here? You're right. Brother Gu, you have to give us an explanation as well. It had been a year since Long Fei entered the savage domain, and in this 1 year, he had not found any news related to Long Fei. He couldn't even see the Great Void Mirror. Long Fei had completely disappeared from this world. Heaven said slightly, there is a dragon tail tomb here. Would he be locked inside the dragon tail tomb and not be able to come out? This past year or so, he had been cultivating in seclusion, recovering, so he did not know anything that happened in savage domain. If he doesn't have the means to charge out of dragon tail tomb, then he is definitely not the prophet's son. Maybe the real prophet's son hasn't come out yet. It's impossible for the prophecy's son to be trapped in the dragon tail tomb. Many powerhouse began to discuss. On top of the supreme god, Jiyu Tongqian's brows were knitted secretly. Amongst these people, his lifespan was the closest to being exhausted. He was more anxious than anyone else. After several great battles, his lifespan was running out quickly and he could no longer hold on for much longer. Jiyu Tongqian secretly thought in his heart, Long Fei, where did you go in the end? At this time, Dark Domain Lord Song Chencheng walked out and said, Brother Jiyu, it's actually very simple if you want Long Fei to come out. As soon as he said that, the entire hall quietened down and everyone looked at Song Chencheng. Song Chencheng enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. He smiled lightly and asked, what's Long Fei's weakness? It's his family members, brothers, and women. It's the Nantian region. Doesn't he like to hide? Then force him out. A cold smile emerged on Song Chencheng's lips. Everyone shivered. Heaven immediately said, that's right, as long as he puts pressure on the people around him, he will definitely appear. Isn't he always so arrogant and rampant? It's time to show him something. Heaven immediately agreed. Because he hated Long Fei to the bone. Long Fei had destroyed his everything. Very quickly, Song Chencheng's suggestion was approved by many of the powerhouse. I'll do it. F***ck his family. F***ck his bro. I don't believe that he won't come out. Brother Gu, we've endured for a year. It's time for the war to start. Nantian region? A wasteland, ha ha ha. This time, we shall let them die without a single blade of grass. Many powerhouse started to clamor. With more than 100 flying fairy stronger man-s, this kind of strength could be said to be the strongest lineup in the history of God's martial continent. An existence that could instantly kill someone. They were not afraid. There was no one in the world that could frighten them. Jiyu Tongqian slowly stood up and said, since everyone agrees, then, 1 month from now, fight the Nantian region. Why a month? This was also a kind of deadline. It was also a method to force Long Fei to come out. Nantian region was not their goal was Long Fei. 3 days later. Fengyuan Business Alliance's secret base. What did you say? Palace Question of God is making his move against Nantian region? Fu Shishan instantly sprung up and his brows tightened. He immediately said, inform them right away, let them all come out. We need to rush to Nantian region first. Not long later. Fat Men Chen and the others rushed over. That old thing Jiyu Tongqian is going to fight. F***ck his mother, I haven't even done anything to him, yet he already made a move on us. Fat Men Chen was in an extremely bad mood. After more than a year of closed-door cultivation, his holy armor fairy vein had made another breakthrough. Black Knife also rushed over. What's going on? Aoya and Ling Long also walked over. Dao Ba and the others all walked in. Fu Shishan recounted the news he just received. The fat men Chen immediately said, "Then what are we waiting for? We are rushing to the Nantian region. That is eldest brother's hometown, and everything he did is in that place. We cannot let anything happen to the Nantian region." Fu Shishan looked at Yuna, and said, "Yuna, are you still unable to detect Long Fei?" Yuna shook her head lightly. "It's been a year or two, and I can't even sense a single bit of Big Brother Long Fei's aura. It's as if he's completely disappeared from this world." Her face was downcast. He was sensing Long Fei every single day, but he couldn't feel it every day. Both of Yuna's eyes slightly rose as she firmly said, "I believe Big Brother Long Fei. He will definitely return." Fu Shishan smiled lightly. "We all believe that." Fu Shishan took a look at the people in the courtyard and was stunned for a moment. Everyone looked at each other. It seemed Song Qianqian was not present. One of the disciples said, "Miss Song Qianqian is not in the cultivation room." Linglong murmured, "Sister Qian Qian must have something important to do." Fu Shishan said, "She will definitely know about the war between the Palace Question of God and the Nantian region, and will definitely rush to the Nantian region. What we need to do now is to reach the Nantian region before the Palace Question of God. Everyone, get ready. We will set off in 4 hours. Go to Nantian region." The reason why Jiyu Tongtian said to attack the Nantian region in a month's time was to give Long Fei time, so that he could do the same. He had deeper meanings, which was to allow Long Fei's entire force to enter the Nantian region. This way, he wouldn't have to waste his time searching one by one. Soon, he received the news that Fu Shishan had brought a group of people to the Nantian region. Jiyu Tongtian gave a disdainful sneer, "Truly a bunch of retards," and actually went to the Nantian region. "This is good as well, it saves me the time to find you all. I can catch you all in the Nantian region. Long Fei, you still have 27 days. If you don't come out, all of your family members will die, ha ha ha. Nantian region will never be able to recover, not even a blade of grass will grow. This time." Jiyu Tongtian was determined to kill. If he didn't enter the dragon domain, he would kill everyone in the Nantian region. Achoo, achoo, achoo. 3 consecutive sneezes rang out. Long Fei grinned and said, "Damn, who's thinking about me? Forget it for now. Let's sweep this valley clean first. F*CK, can't you guys put a bit more effort? It would be so strenuous to make you guys work that much." At this moment, the bodies of the 4 great dragon demons and 3 great giant demons were all covered with mysterious boxes. Long Fei's space ring were all filled to the brim. Chapter 1078 SSS Level Tasks. Chapter 1078 SSS Level Tasks. In the game, the backpack could easily be filled. However, space ring were different. The spirit space ring on Long Fei's hand was even more different. It had a storage space that was as big as a villa. What couldn't fit inside? He never thought that when the space ring were full, it would be because it was impossible. But now, the spiritual void ring was about to explode. There was already so much that not even a single hair could fit inside. Long Fei could only summon out the 3 demons and 4 dragons to be his slaves. Clink, clink, clink. It had already exploded like this. In this period of more than a year, Long Fei's life had been one of the coolest. There was only one thing that made him very depressed. It was just that he did not know what had dropped, and had to wait until he returned to the gods' martial continent to find out. Clang. "It's time for dinner." Long Fei knocked the gong. Hearing this voice, the beeman's eyes moved and ran back like a wisp of smoke. Carrying a huge basin, it drooled and obediently squatted there. "This giant roasted elephant leg is yours. Keep up the good work. These are yours. Eat, eat." Long Fei was like a super big wet nurse. The giant demon cautiously approached and asked, "Boss, what about us?" Long Fei disdainfully said, "You all still have the face to eat, and get you all to carry boxes here. What's there really disappoints me. However, who are you? Are you an earth demon or Leimo?" The giant demon's entire body was covered in mysterious chests. One couldn't even see his face, and no one knew just who he was. There were too many boxes. The giant demon had a bitter look on his face as he said, "Boss, I'm an old geezer." Long Fei said, "There is still a portion of roasted meat here, you 7 split it, right?" Li Yuanba ate the roast meat, walked up to him and asked, "Boss, we have already left the gods' martial continent for over a year, when are we going back?" Lin Yusheng said, "I also want to go back." The heavenly spirit said, "Why are you going back? How good it is to be here." Arhat said, "What a good hammer. Our cultivation is restricted by the laws of the plane. No matter how we cultivate, we just can't break through. What use is there in having a thread? I want to go back too, and I'm afraid something bad might happen to Nantian region if we leave for so long." Long Fei had thought of all these. However, Long Fei believed that as long as he did not appear, the Nantian region would be safe. The one Jiyu Tongtian and the others wanted was him, while the Nantian region was the only one that could threaten Long Fei, so they wouldn't be in any danger. However, this was only Long Fei's guess. Actually, Long Fei was very worried about his brothers in the Nantian region. According to their agreement, they would go to Nantian region in 2 months. Long Fei said slightly, "After the beeman clears this entire valley, we will leave this place." The beeman started to eat crazily. It took less than half a minute for the elephant leg to be completely chewed off, even the bones were bitten off. Long Fei said, "There's more here." The beeman immediately laughed. He was very dependent on Long Fei, and in the past tens of thousands of years, he had never been as happy as he was now. After eating, they continued to chase and kill. Strangely enough, none of these descendant of God's tribes escaped from the valley. Long Fei couldn't understand this point. Why would they all die in this valley? No reason. It was obviously a massacre, so why didn't he escape the valley? Yang Huang ancestor suddenly said, "Because they won't be able to escape." Huh? Long Fei was startled, and asked, "Why can't we escape?" Yang Huang ancestor said, "I don't know the specifics either, but I am sure that they won't be able to escape. This place can't be considered as the real Chaos Realm. This should be a special secret world of the Chaos Realm." Long Fei was shocked. "Ancestor, you mean to say, they brought the transmission gate to the secret world?" Yang Huang ancestor said, "This is a brilliant method, one that will definitely not be discovered." Long Fei said, "Then why didn't they leave the secret world?" The Yang Huang ancestor said, "I think the people from the open secret realm were probably killed by you. They don't even know how the open secret realm did it, so they can only hide in the valleys." Just like he said. The only person that could enter open secret realm was the purple-robed man. He was instantly killed. There was already no one left in the open secret realm, so they could only hide in the valley. This time, it was the bloodline of the gods' tribe. They had discovered the transmission gate, discovered the secret treasure of Long Clan, and wanted to use the transmission gate to control heaven. Who would have thought that things would turn out like this? Completely unexpected. Long Fei asked again, "Ancestor, Yuan Ba, and the others have been here before, to obtain the power of evolution. Where can they evolve? Why didn't I notice it?" Chaos Realm did not do it for the holy artifact to explode. Rather, it was to have an even more powerful strength that could suppress the power of the flying fairyland. He had seen nothing so far. Power of evolution? Where is it? Heaven was an evolved human. The reason he was able to break through to the 8th level of the flying immortal stage was due to the power of evolution. Where was this power? Yang Huang ancestor smiled slightly and said, "The power of evolution that the 4 great King Kong, together with all the other evolved humans in Tian Clan, can't even compare to the power that you have gained by yourself." Huh? Long Fei was a little confused. He could not feel the existence of any power at all. Yang Huang ancestor said, "Inside your black boxes." Long Fei, although I don't know how you broke through, if you had great power, every time you killed a person, there would be something extra inside the space ring that killed you. I guess this is your deepest secret. You must have what you want in those black boxes. The Yang Huang ancestor said indifferently. Even a fool would understand that Long Fei had special powers if he stayed in Long Fei's body for 8 or 9 years. He did not want to know what kind of power it was. Because What Long Fei wanted to say, he had said it long ago. With regards to the existence of the system, Long Fei would definitely not say a single word. Long Fei laughed. Ha ha ha. Ancestor, you also want to quickly open these boxes, right? Yang Huang Ancestor said, I want to eat better than you, so that I can have a hearty meal. And then, both of them laughed obscenely at the same time. 20 days later, the last disciple in the valley was sent flying with a slap from the beeman. At the same time, at this moment, a system notification rang out. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for clearing Purple Light Secret World for obtaining 100,000 experience points, 10,000 power of celestial points, and 10,000 points. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering the transmission gate quest. Mission: break the transmission gate. Level: SSS class time, 3 minutes reward, level +1, obtained control of the transmission gate. Ding. Do you accept? Without waiting for Long Fei to reject, the system acknowledged him immediately. Accept. Ding. Mission failed. Players will forever be trapped in the Purple Radiant Secret World. The mission starts in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Begin. Chapter 1079, respectively, is only for the purpose of the next reunion. Chapter 1079, respectively, is only for the purpose of the next reunion. Everything had happened too suddenly. He couldn't control it at all. When the mission notification ended, a countdown with an hourglass appeared in Long Fei's mind. I'll go. Long Fei bellowed, everyone attack the transmission gate, quickly, quickly. Li Yuanbar was startled. He did not even think about it. The god power in his fists exploded, rushing straight to the teleportation gate, throwing a punch. The sky spirit did the same. Lin Yusheng was more clear-headed. Boss, how are we going to go back after blasting the teleportation gate? Her words woke Long Fei up. Holy *T. That's right, if the transmission gate is destroyed, how are we to go back? Long Fei muttered in his heart. This was a very important question. The system only said that he had control over the transmission gate, but could he release it? It was not clear. Moreover, most importantly, when Li Yuanbar's fist landed, the transmission gate did not waver in the slightest, and did not even cause the slightest bit of damage. The same goes for the attacks of the sky spirit. Long Fei shouted, Beeman, you go. Roar. The beeman roared, and then smashed down with its palm. His strength was incomparably strong, and he was even the strongest that Long Fei had ever seen. But the transmission gate remained unmoved. There were no changes. The beeman could not accept it. Hugging its 2 fists together, it flew down from the sky and struck the ground. Rumble. The transmission gate remained the same, unmoving. Long Fei was stunned. He took out his dragon salya and hacked down. 103023, the damage that created the 100,000 points. At the same time, a long string of HP floated above the transmission gate's head. Long Fei counted and his eyes turned white. Damn your sister. 10 billion HP, you want to kill me, right? Moreover, the force of Long Fei's slash earlier was inferior to Li Yuanbar's, but when he dealt the damage, the beeman did not cause the slightest bit of damage. In other words, this transmission gate could only be broken by Long Fei. It was impossible for other people. This was the system's setting. Long Fei paid his respects to the 18 generations of ancestors of the system in his heart. Without saying anything further, he started to attack crazily, using all of his strength to attack. Dragon Chop. Rumble. Dark Dragon God Slash. Boom. Holy Sword 81 moves. Rumble. Super Saiyang Mode. Transformation. Buddha Palm Technique. Long Fei was attacking with his life on the line, and he didn't even have the chance to speak. 10 billion HP, 3 minutes, this was absolutely impossible. But he didn't want to be trapped here. He was going out. He had to get out. Demacia Justice. Boom. As the great sword slashed down, the halo on the transmission gate warped and started to fluctuate. Long Fei's heart tensed up. What if I don't succeed? The transmission gate will definitely suffer damage, Can the four great King Kong get out? Let's take a step back. If I succeed, what if the transmission gate is unable to release it? Can they go back? System. This *T mission is really pushing Lousy to the brink of death. Long Fei felt bad and shouted at Li Yuanba, Yuanba, the four of you go in. Demonic Dragon, lead the way, the four of you. Earth Demons, Giant Demons, Lei Mo, the three of you behind us, follow the path that we went back to earlier, we have to get out, understand? Li Yuanba immediately asked, Boss, what about you? Long Fei grinned and laughed, don't worry, when has your boss been in trouble before? You guys wait for me there. If I don't come out within 3 days, you guys go to the Nantian region first. I'll definitely get there quickly. This is an order. Quick, quick, quick. Time is life. Long Fei was now racing against the death god. Li Yuanba clenched his teeth. There must be a reason for Long Fei to do this, to rush into the transmission gate and roar out, Boss, we're waiting for you. Beeman. You go with them. Long Fei looked at the incomparably huge Beeman. Long Fei truly liked this guy from the bottom of his heart. The Beeman shook its head and said, Boss, I'm right beside you. I won't go then. Actually, he himself knew very well that he would no longer be able to enter the spatial turbulence. He would no longer be able to leave the Chaos Realm. At this moment, his heart was struggling, and felt somewhat painful, because he was about to be separated from Long Fei. The pain in his heart was not expressed, but he looked at Long Fei with a silly smile, and said, Boss, do your best. Boss does his best. Unconsciously, his eyes became moist. Long Fei did not know about all these. Beeman, listen up, quickly follow them out. Long Fei said again. The Beeman still shook her head and said, Boss, I'm right here. At this time, Yang Huang Ancestor could not help but say, Long Fei, Beeman Large Monster can only choose one plane in his entire life. Him following you actually becoming a Chaos Realm, means that he will never be able to leave the Chaos Realm. He can't get out. He also knew that's why he chose to stay. Beeman Large Monster belongs to the spatial and temporal space. Once you choose a plane, you cannot change it for the rest of your life. After Long Fei helped him, he chose to repay Long Fei without hesitation and followed him into the Chaos Realm. This past year was the happiest period of tens of thousands of years for him. Long Fei felt a sharp pain in his heart. Ancestor, why didn't you tell me? Why? Yang Huang Ancestor did not speak. He knew very well why he hadn't said it back then. Based on Long Fei's personality, once he explained all of this, Long Fei would definitely not bring Beeman into the Purple Light secret world. If he and the four great Vaja came in, they would instantly shatter. The old patriarch did not regret his decision. Even if he knew that Long Fei would scold him, he would not regret it. If he knew about this, Long Fei would let go of the Beeman and let him return to the spatial and temporal turbulence. The Beeman Large Monster. Long Fei was the first person to submit to this kind of super beast. Yang Huang Ancestor was truly shocked. He could not let Long Fei lose such a super helper for nothing. As Long Fei looked at the Beeman Large Monster and its somewhat wet eyes, Long Fei's heart felt unspeakably uncomfortable. The Beeman was moved as well. Looking at Long Fei, she smiled honestly and said, Daddy said before that separation is short. It's preparation for the next time we meet. Boss, we'll meet again. I will wait for you in Chaos Realm. The Beeman did not want to burden Long Fei too much. After seeing this, Long Fei was now in a dilemma. On one side was a brother. On the other side was his family. Long Fei had never been so conflicted before. He really did not want to lose the Beeman. Seeing the firm expression in the Beeman's eyes, Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and said, Beeman, wait for me. I will definitely come to Chaos Realm to find you. You must wait for me. Finished. Both of Long Fei's fists exploded, as he deeply roared out, unparalleled at level 10, Super Sai Yang. 10 million punches. Both fists were bombarding in a chaotic manner, bombarding, and bombarding non-stop. At the last second. Clang. The teleportation gate shattered as Long Fei fell into an endless darkness. Seeing the Beeman get further and further away, Long Fei shouted, Wait for me. At this moment, the system appeared. Ding! You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.